I just got off the phone with Gene Hackman, and he's not able to make it.
Son of a
I know.
Son of a damn you, Luthor. Damn you.
My favorite Lex Luthor of all time.
The best.
That poisonous snake.
Then after the downfall of his $1 million company, he went to coach the Commanders here in Baltimore. Keanu Reeves was the quarterback. They did an awesome dance number in a jail cell. It was great.
Yes.
What? Okay, I'm writing this down as a
Jon Favreau. He was a part of it. Yeah.
Favreau was a part of it. Got to look up the movie The Replacements.
The Replacements.
Never saw
yeah.
Okay.
It is actually a really fun movie. I enjoyed that one.
It's
quite a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of a comedy spoof movie on football, but it comes and hits hard home here in Baltimore because they filmed it at our stadium.
Yep.
They used our cheerleaders for the backup cheerleaders, not the main ones, because most of those were, actresses. And it's a fantastic movie. It's hilarious.
Love it.
Check it out. It's really good. Even if you don't like sports movies, it's a fun damn movie.
So he said he wasn't able to pop on the live, but I know that Gene is watching. So, Mr. Hackman, thanks for tuning in and watching our show tonight.
He's probably busy coaching football. We're in the postseason right now.
He's probably busy just doing anything else than having to think about anything.
He's switching around YouTube channels. No, Jarrell, the baseball player. Where's he?
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Frenzy tonight. As you can tell, we're excited about Superman. We're going to be talking about Superman and some, we're going to go off on some tangents too, because we all love different things, especially Masters of the Universe. And so, we're going to be headed in that direction too. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. And for Bud's acknowledgement, I couldn't squeeze into the spandex. I was trying, and it was like trying to slip a log of bologna in a balloon, and it wasn't looking good. So
have you ever tried to do that?
No, I've never actually.
Me neither. Never tried that.
Not on my short list of things I've tried to do in my life, but
I try to whenever I come up with a metaphor for something, I try to actually put it into practice. So that I know it's valid.
So I'm going to go to the deli tomorrow, and I'm just going to order a log of bologna and see what can happen.
You get the bologna, get the Vapo Rub. It'll help you slide in there a little bit better.
Damn it, Sean! You got to say it when
I think that would be good for anybody that's looking for something to do as a YouTube channel, like doing putting metaphors into physical practice would be a great YouTube premise. As you guys, as you all can probably tell, Bobby is not with us tonight. So those of you watching, thank you for being here. But Bobby's not here. We hope that you stick around, even though Bobby's not here. He is taking a little bit of a break from the Frenzy, but also just giving himself a breather from social media, I think. So, which I think is smart every once in a while, folks, do that. We need it sometimes. I've been doom scrolling the fires in Los Angeles, off and on today. And it really kind of put me in a mood. So I'm like, maybe Bobby's got the right idea. But anyways, Bobby, if you're watching, we miss you. Can't wait for you to come back. So I did that, but I had already asked how you guys are doing. Did we ever finish that portion?
I mean, we talked about me trying to slip into some spandex, and then
that's right.
Kind of off the rails from there. Adam, how about you? How are you doing?
I'm good. That cold that's going around visited our house, so I've been dealing with a sinus infection and all that. I'm not 100%, but I'm at least functional.
Glad you're here. It can't be plowed through our household too. Over winter break. Yuck.
I did bring up Allison's chat here, and she says, speaking of slipping logs of bologna in a balloon, my ex's mom is getting remarried now that her husband left her for the girl that works at the chicken shack.
Allison, I've been thinking about you. I hope, did we talk about this already? But I hope that you've got the whole X thing as a stand-up routine that you're doing at a club near where you live. And you're making yourself into a legend, because that's the best quips about, dilemmas with the ex and the ex's family is just hilarious every time.
It's outstanding. I absolutely love it.
We all love it.
It's one of the best running jokes of YouTube, Toy Tube, whatever you want to call it, Tube. It's phenomenal. Keep that shit up.
Yeah, Mortadella Tube. Let's say hello to everybody that's in the chat.
All right,
folks in there.
Yeah, we can definitely fly through that here. We got My Buddy's Custom saying, one of my all-time favorite DC superheroes, tied with Swamp Thing. And if you know Bud, he absolutely loves Swamp Thing. So that's a lot of praise.
Yeah.
We've got Eternian Royalty Mikey in the house saying hello, right, Frenzy. We've got Nolan here in the chat making us Toy Tube official. Allison Troy, as one of her comments was already highlighted. And greetings. Dumplings. Yes, my delightful DC dumplings.
That's awesome.
Good Ray Black, Nolan's better half, making us fully Toy Tube official, because you know you're not full until both of the halves are here. Ace hanging out in the chat saying, what up, friends? Ace. And Kenzo's Creations saying, howdy, everyone. And
Kenzo.
Kenny was just doing a live last night on his channel. He got in that new wave of Turtles of Grayskull that's coming out. The only one he didn't have an open up was Mechanic, because he got a full wave in box from Entertainment Earth.
Whoa.
And he doesn't want to crack the seal on that box.
Oh.
He wants to leave that one alone. But the other three he got seal individually. And then he's Mechanic shipped separately from that. Dude, I got to tell you, that Rattler from Turtles of Grayskull just pushes so many of my buttons.
That's good.
It's got this hot pink, this deep blue. It's still got the red. He's still a snake. It's got a skeletal neck into a skeletal head, because like you can see all the individual vertebrae on the neck coming out. So it's got like skeleton components.
I haven't seen images of that.
Well, you know why? That's because he kept falling over at San Diego Comic-Con, because he's got those crappy little feet from the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
And he kept falling over. So the images at San Diego Comic-Con were atrocious of him. But the collar around where his neck comes out, it's his face, like, from the actual toy. So the mutagen mutated him, and that's why it's the skeletal vertebrae and skull coming out of his mouth of his actual head.
That's brutal.
My
that's
God.
Cool.
It's
that's
like
a good design choice.
Oh man, yeah, it's so cool. Let me see real quick if I can find it on his IG, because it's phenomenal. And he's just saying his Mechanic came today. So that's amazing. Also, we got some more jumping in the chat here. We've got Eldor, Master Merciful Toy Hunter, saying, good evening there, chaps. Good to see you, Eldor. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for being here, Eldor.
All right, ladies, talk amongst yourselves while I pull this up.
Well, I don't know. So what inspired tonight's episode was that freaking amazing Superman trailer. And honestly, I've been like with the premise, the idea that there's going to be a Masters of the Universe movie. Anytime they announce a new Superman movie, it's like I compare I get worried about the impact that it's going to have on me. Superman Returns, I got really excited about it, but the impact was not good. Man of Steel was a good movie, but then what happened to the rest of the DC universe after that wasn't so great. And I get, it's like Masters of the Universe. Like, we want Masters of the Universe to either be like the mini comics or the Filmation cartoon if they turn it into a movie. As you know, that's going to be a letdown if it's not in some capacity, unless the idea is a fresh. I feel like this is a phrase that probably is like hasn't quite made it into our vernacular yet, but fresh nostalgia, like bringing back what made something good, but putting a new twist on it. And it like with the sorry, I know we want to talk about this, but I'm going off on a tangent here. But like with the Barbie movie, like I don't know what other people feel, but I felt like that was a really great movie, and a really great way to make a movie about Barbie would be acknowledging where it came from and then putting it into a new space. So I was worried, honestly, I was worried about the Superman movie. And thank God James Gunn is a part of it, because I feel like it's going to do that. It's going to take us into territory that's new, but it'll still be pushing all those nostalgia buttons.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally hear you. Trailer definitely got me pumped. So,
but we'll talk about this guy. Let's talk about this guy for a little bit, though, because this is kind of cool. I haven't seen this image yet.
Oh my God, absolutely. These are all the ones that Kenny just sent me over, because he doesn't have it posted on his IG itself yet.
Yeah.
So you kind of see it washes out a little bit, but I mean, it's hard to, make sure we get that flash on there. But you see each of these neck pieces is like an individual vertebrae. And unlike the original, it's like where it's one piece, they actually gave you two pieces of neck so you can have it really long, which is kind of what you're looking at here. That's two of them. Here's the first one, and then here's the second one. So it's like
I see that. I see where the joint is in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. But he just looks great. He's got that hot pink, the deep blue. He's still got like that red from, his original coloration.
But it looks brighter.
Yeah, it is a little brighter. It's not as dark or flat looking. So you can kind of see his mouth right here, but that's him popping out of his own head, like out of his own face. There's the feet, and it's that translucent blue too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these feet are horrible for standing figures, but he did a good job. And he's sending us more right now. This is perfect.
Thank you, Ken.
It's a fantastic figure. This has got to be like my favorite.
That's so
there you
cool.
Go. Yeah, so you can see it right back here. Cool. The eye, the mouth, just it popping out. Like, this is a grotesque mutation, right? When you think mutations, like painful and craziness, like his skeletal head just literally ripped out of his mouth.
Yeah, this is an amazing figure. I think he'll look great right next to Moss Man and the mutated Moss Man and mutated Ram Man, and
I didn't realize it was an articulated jaw. Oh wow,
that's cool.
That just makes it even better. Oh man, yeah. Here's that little hood piece for around the side. I mean, that's awesome, right? Like I said, this pushes so many of my buttons from. Like, if they'd added some purple and green in there, this thing would have just definitely been the best Origins figure to date for me. It's got skeletal, it's got snake, it just hits so many buttons. I love this figure.
Well, there's green, and
it's got
some of the blue, because it's next to red, looks like it's purple. So that
does look a little purplish.
Yeah, there you go.
He pointed it out on the live too last night too, where it's kind of like this little faded look. Like on the regular figure, it's the yellow is very stark and then it's immediately red. This has got kind of a fade to it.
Yeah.
Which I dig that too. I thought that was a really cool feature. But yeah, overall, outstanding figure. He was showing this off on his live last night. If you guys didn't catch it, definitely go check it out. Kenzo's Customs. Is that the one? Or is it Kenzo's Creations? Kenzo's Collections? I can't remember which one is the toy one and which one is the sports one. I just know it's the one that I see go live every Wednesday.
Kenzo, go ahead and put your link in the chat for everybody.
He may not be able to if he's not a moderator, depending on how you have that set up. He may not be able to drop his link.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. We'll drop your link in there.
Yeah. We'll shoot it to... You can shoot it to me and I'll drop it in as Skelly on here, or shoot it to Skelly, whichever one.
Yeah. I'll have my little chat open here.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic figure. Way to go, Kenny. Great job getting that in hand.
Kenzo, if you want to make that, if you want to send the link in a way that is faster and doesn't take Grandpa 30 minutes to find a way to transfer it from one place to another, just send it to Oz.
Yeah, shoot it to me. I'll make it happen.
Anyways, yeah, that's kind of a beautiful figure, and I've not been very shy about talking about my feelings about Turtles of Grayskull. Like the mutated original Masters characters are what I'm most interested in, and that definitely fits that category.
Right? Yeah, it's just it's crazy. Absolutely crazy what they're doing. Again, I'm the same way. I haven't been like all in on Turtles of Grayskull. Getting a solid set of the Ninja Turtles, just kind of like more plain looking in the Motu style, I would like.
Oh yeah.
But almost having to pick the different turtles to make those kind of things, it's a lot. I know Bud's been trying to make his set from the way the different looks are. Like when the original Mikey came out, he had the his torso. It's like the battle armor, but it's like molded. Like you can't take that part off.
Oh, really?
But I just want like a standard turtle. The first Donatello that came out, he's got like a permanently sculpted Man-at-Arms helmet over his head. But like that new Raphael that they showed, the Merman hands down is like the best out of that series.
That's so good. It's such a good figure.
Here we go. I'm gonna drop Kenny's link. He just sent it to me. I'm pop it in the chat here.
Are you good to see you?
Everybody, go subscribe to Kenzo's Creations on YouTube. He is almost to 1,000. We're trying to get him there, folks.
Yeah, he'll get there soon. The content's been great, and apologies to everyone that watches this show and has a YouTube channel and does lives. I rarely have a moment where I can pop on and join in on those things. So apologies if anybody ever feels like, why doesn't Skelly come and check this out? I usually do like rewatches later on when I can on my lunch breaks. But thank you all for being here.
Agreed. Yeah, there's just so much with content creation. It's impossible to keep up with everybody.
Yeah,
try to catch what you can and what you enjoy. There's no way to watch everybody all the time.
Oh, I do, and I've said it before. I think it's so amazing how creative and active everybody is that watches this show and is friends with us in the Awesome Verse, because like everybody's doing interesting stuff. Like,
oh, definitely
unique and interesting stuff, and that's so amazing to see.
Right.
So I got sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you guys get anything you're excited about, Skelly?
I did. I feel like I'm kind of manic right now. Like super excited to talk Superman, so I'm gonna wait a little bit. How about you guys? Like Adam, Sean. Oh, hey, Blake, good to see you here.
I'm excited about what Blake's bringing up right here. I mean, just to start, everyone should check out Adam's debut in Toy Collector Magazine, upcoming issue 16, Motu Goodness for All.
Yes.
How incredible is that?
I got a preview of how it's formatted and how it'll look. It looks amazing. So they made
that's
it look
great.
way better than the actual article is. So excited about that.
The article's going to be amazing too.
And we got Night One joining us. Good to see you, brother. Happy New Year to the Frenzy crew. Well, before I bring up anything else, Adam, did you get anything you're excited about, buddy? Besides a cold?
Oh, shoot. Well, I'm not gonna say because Sean and I got the same thing, but I'm not. I'm gonna let him talk about it. I'm just gonna pop. Yeah, I'm gonna pop in with one. I'm gonna show my figure when he talks about it. So other than that, I did get, and it's not in hand to show. I did get a Scareglow, vintage Scareglow figure recently.
Such a good figure.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's
Such a good figure.
Yeah,
Good for
I used to
you.
own one. Had to sell it a while
Yeah.
back. Finally got one again. So yeah, really excited about that.
One of the best figures ever made. Period.
When you posted a picture of it, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I was like, is he showing one that he has? So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's it's such a simple figure. Like it's just Skeletor body with a new head and it glows in the dark. But I don't know, just something about Scareglow. He just works. He's just
one of the best figures ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that he's not easy to find. That's part of the intrigue. He's not easy to find.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't understand how the only figure in the original Motu line with the best action feature ever, glow in the dark. Such a hard and rare figure to find. Because I don't own all of them. So it's not that I just went out there and bought all of them. I clearly don't have all of them. But man, it's such a good figure. It's my favorite.
Yeah. My goal is, because I used to have all of the vintage line, like all the figures. Several years back, I sold some of the, like the 86, 87 ones. So my goal for like the next couple of years, get back the 86, 87, have them up on my wall. And then I'll feel complete somehow. I won't though. As soon as I do that, I'll be like, okay, what's my next thing?
Yeah,
it's a never-ending treadmill.
Yeah. Have you ever found? I don't know. Maybe we've talked about it before, but do you have a Wondar in your collection?
No, I've never had that. I like when I started, he was too expensive for me. Like when I started collecting, and that back in the day, I remember he was like 600 or so, and now he's like twice that at least.
I was gonna say 1,200 is like pretty much the going rate I see him for these days, and I'm just like, man, and I wonder because like I seem to remember coming across him at like a flea market as a kid in a bin. Like one of those little bins under the table because he never had a box or anything.
Yeah.
Like I seem to remember holding one in my hand when I was a kid that I came across like that. Like, why didn't I just
I have vague memories of that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he was, no harness. He didn't have any weapons. And to me, he was like just again, brown-haired He-Man, right? Like that was it. But like never bothered to pick him up because he didn't have the sword or anything. And now it's like, man, I really wish I hadn't skipped over that. Of course, it wouldn't help anyway because I had the house fire. But it's like, oh man, just to have said I owned one of those original ones.
Yeah.
I'm still kicking my own ass for actually holding a Scareglow mint ink card at KB Toys when I was a kid,
right?
And asking on that to get Transformers that day. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
And like the worst part about it is too, it's like I remember him being like a clearance figure too, because they were just trying to get rid of that wave.
That's my memory is seeing those on clearance, and me being the the cocky kid who just hit puberty and is not interested anymore. It's like those characters are weird. You know, it's
all need these toys. I like girls, and girls think toys are dumb.
Exactly. We are our own worst enemies. I swear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Allison's absolutely right. Because again, like, you know, the people who were selling toys back then that knew what valued was, it was like there was no real knowledge of what this guy was. He was just that He-Man that never had armor, never had the power sword, you know, that kind of thing. So like nobody ever cared. He was always in that bin of cheap, loose toys because he never had a card, never a box. I imagine pretty much all of us came across him at yard sales when we were kids, holding this piece that later, you know, could buy you a tank of gas.
I'm pretty sure. I used to go to the town I used to live in had flea markets twice a year, like a big city, almost like it was a tiny town, so it's almost like a citywide flea market. And I know I held it and threw it back in the box and was like, that's weird. That's interesting. Somebody must have painted it or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I thought, somebody wanted to be He-Man themselves with dark hair. That's how it felt. Like, He-Man's blonde. This isn't legit.
Anna is asking, which Transformer was it, Sean?
Yeah, which one? You better say Soundwave.
1989, and that KB toy store ended up having a lot of the Transformers from the 86 movies still somehow.
Oh, okay.
I ended up going in there and I got like Cyclonus, Scourge, and a few others that I never got when I was younger. So in some ways, it's like at least I was collecting the villains at least, so there's a little cred to that. But at the same time, it's it's like you couldn't have spent $3 on a Scareglow, you freaking cheap bastard! Like what the hell, man? I still to this day I remember being KB Toys, and my mom took it off, and she was like holding it to me, and we were both looking at it. She goes, "Does this mean Skeletor's dead because of the the evil goes to Skeletor for his subheader or whatever?" And as a kid, I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, it made you start thinking of like, okay, so what kind of weird Christmas Carol story are they going to put him into? And then he comes back and he's haunting his own, haunting Skeletor or whatever. And instead, it's like it just wasn't mythic enough for me to go, I need Scareglow. It was like, no, I need Scourge because I really want to play Transformers when I get home today. And yeah.
So when I go to first of all, good to see you here, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here. And have you guys seen that Sesame Street playset video I put on the channel yet? That is, Aaron was the one that found that, and that was an incredible deal on Facebook Marketplace. And he went and picked it up for me in Utah and then sent it all the way over. And that was very cool, Aaron. So thank you, Aaron and his family. So my thought with this is, how we're our own worst enemies. So every time I go to Ross lately, I'm thinking, what is it that I'm trying to think? What would be the thing that's on clearance that will be that people 20, 30 years from now will be hungering for? And I swear to God, like, it is so difficult to put yourself in that mindset because we're in the present. Like, there's no, even if we went back in time and forgot the future, we would look at Scareglow on the wall and think, oh, it's like, it's just, something that I'm not interested in. Yes, it did. I'm forever indebted to Aaron.
Joke's on you, Aaron. He already put his Eternal Soul out on the market along with Eternia for that Millennium Falcon.
That's right. Actually, I put my soul out on Facebook Marketplace years ago.
Wait, where'd Skelly go?
Oh, there he is.
Very topical.
Good one.
I couldn't resist. Was there?
That was awesome.
Real quick.
What were we talking about?
Well, if we could, can I just go over what I'm excited about real quick? Because
please.
then I want to give the floor to Sean, because I'm really excited about what Sean's got. And then I know Adam's going to talk about it too.
I'm excited about it too.
Oh my God. We had the Christmas episode and a lot's happened since then. All right. So I was showing this off before we went live. One of my top figures of the year last year, Primal Kilowog. Absolutely love this guy. He's a beast. He's giant. He towers over my Mythic Legions. I can't say how much I love this guy enough. He even has a alternate head sculpt where he's smoking a cigar. It's great. Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Wait, do you have that alternate head sculpt where you're smoking a cigar?
Which
maybe a different episode, but I would love to see that.
No, he only comes with 3 head sculpts and one's on him, so I just got to find the other wolf head sculpts in here. I would think that wouldn't be too hard because I don't have that many wolf heads just sitting around, but apparently I was wrong. I found all of his hands. He's got a lot of hands. Oops, I just dropped something.
I wish we could zoom in. I wish we could zoom in and really get a good look in that box.
It's just a bunch of heads and wings and other Mythic Legions parts. Cool. Yeah, he kind of goes with that. So there it is.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's he's cool. Smoking a string. This is a carryover from his Veteran Williams head. Veteran Williams was a smoker, so he's a smoker too. This wasn't even listed in like the parts and stuff that he came with that they showed. It was kind of like getting a little bonus. So, everybody likes a little bonus head.
That's
now
cool.
Can I get this tray back in without knocking over all these other trays? Yeah, I spent some time this past week with my time off from work going through those bins a little bit, adding a lot of accessories. So I'd gotten in some Mythic Legions figures, came in just in time for my birthday. I got my 2-pack that K-Roll ordered me from...
All right. I even wrote this. Sorry, Oz, we got to pause for a moment here because I even have this on a post-it note right in front of me. Everybody, let's wish Oz a happy birthday. Oz just had his birthday.
I did. And it was a very, very awesome birthday. But thank you all very much.
We wish we could be there with you and celebrate.
Oh, man. My birthday was a blast this year. It's one of the best ones I've had in a long time. Because, it started off early. We did a little Clubhouse Live early in the morning where we were hanging out. Then did another one that evening. Throughout the day, me and Ziggy went out and, did some shopping. And, with that 2-pack that I got, this is one of my other ones. I'm doing the Yagwalian Blade Master because it came with those parts. Came with enough parts to get this far on making a Dwarven Pugilist. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that.
You're starting a band called Dwarven Pugilist, right?
Right. This was one of the extra heads. I popped that on my Barbarian figure, so that's he's nice. Looking a little better now. But I got some other stuff that came through during this time. I had said that one of my Mr. Home Arcade had asked several of us to record a little thing saying what our top Motu Origins figures of 2024 were. And I didn't get a lot of Motu Origins, but one of the top things that I said on that list was that Skeletor and Demogorgon 2-pack. And then I put in an honorable mention because they came out in 2024, but I didn't get them in 2024. One of those things on that list was the He-Man and Vecna 2-pack.
Oh, yeah.
Our good friend Mikey, Eternian Royalty, sent this to me for my birthday.
That's really cool. The He-Man looks great.
I've got to tell you, I remember when we first saw the announcement of this guy, and we all talked about how the muted colors on this He-Man, he looked like the He-Man that was outside in your garden that you forgot to bring inside and was sitting outside for like a week or a month or a couple days or whatever.
Years.
years in some cases. Like he looked like that He-Man. After getting him in hand, well, I'd seen from other people, he just looked so much better. That metallic sheen to the harness and his weapons and the armor, absolutely gorgeous. The metallic.
I like the hair too. That's more realistic hair color.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's not that bright yellow. It's like that muted sandy blonde. The gold on his gauntlets and then the belt, perfect. The two-tone boot, like, you know, again, that muted one.
This might be the best.
This
definitely the best Origins He-Man.
And he's got a wash too that just really helps highlight the muscle detail, which again they normally don't do, and it just looks so good. Mikey, if you're still watching, buddy, I know sometimes you tune in while you're at work and you're on a break, but you got to go. Thank you again, because it was great that I said that this was going to be one of my first pickups for 2025 when I could find him. Didn't even have to really go out and hunt for him. Mikey helped out big time. Definitely my top He-Man for Origins. But I also had another. I had one other honorable mention on that list. And that was another 2-pack. So I picked up the Prince Adam Cringer 2-pack from Cartoon Collection. Again, I haven't been all in on this Cartoon Collection because to me, my versions of He-Man are the vintage toy versions. Like that's my representation from the cartoon because they didn't have these versions as a kid. Now, my Prince Adam regular head, I don't know if you can see it here. He's a little derpy, a little cross-eyed.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. But I've got this guy now. He's got the hold the sword aloft wrist, which you know,
it's amazing. It's an amazing 2-pack.
Adds so much to it. But the best part of that 2-pack, the best part, hands down, is this guy.
Yeah.
A fully articulated Cringer. Look, like I know you guys have all seen it, but I'm still so excited because his feet are articulated.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we get that on a regular Battle Cat? Oh man, it's great. Articulated jaw and all on this head. Just phenomenal. So my 2 honorable mentions, I went out and I picked this one up myself this past weekend. We were out, shopping, and I was like, you know what? I'm picking them up. I'm doing it. I'm getting them both. That way I can make good on the fact that I said I will get both of these in the year 2025. And I did. So I'm good for that now. I absolutely love it. I have Cringer. I got an extra Prince Adam. I've already got 2 Prince Adams. The extra hand alone for this one really kind of makes it worth it, though. I'm not going to lie. Just having that extra point of articulation in the wrist.
Hey, Eric, how's it going?
Oh, Eric, brother, good to see you. Lastly, on Sunday, I went out with a good friend of mine, Brianna, and her husband, Ted. We went out to lunch, and they had a Christmas/birthday present for me. And Skelly, I showed this off before we went live. I got a Power Droid.
That's incredible.
And
so what the heck is going on here?
So this is just a vintage collection, very old vintage collection, VC-167. Just Power Droid. And it's got the classic Kenner, box and everything like that. Look, this may not mean a lot to some people. This is one of the stupidest droids in the series, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
The Gonk droid's like the best. How do you? No one should ever have any doubt about how amazing that droid is.
Absolutely, like it's just like a dude in a trash can walks on the screen, goes gonk, and that's it. That's it. That's his whole thing, and so I freaking love it. I absolutely love it. So yes. I'll be opening that this weekend during a live because I told Ted I want him and Brianna to tune in when I open it. So that came on Sunday, which is why I didn't open it for my birthday. And again, for a lot of people, they may not care about something like that, but for me, it's like, oh, I love this freaking stupid droid. This is great. It's absolutely amazing. Right? Like I love him.
I actually think that if a person doesn't like that droid, there's something wrong with that person.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I'm rarely that judgmental, but when it comes to that droid, I get really intense.
Yeah, absolutely. And he'll go great with my little, Power of the Force, like Bounty Hunters collection, or, hanging around next to this Boba Fett, vintage collection with the classic paint scheme. But I just absolutely love it. I gotta, can't not have that little guy. And I'm so glad. He's actually kind of hard to find now because, nobody really cared for him. And
people care about the vintage one. I was just pricing them, and they're of the vintage figures. They're not that cheap.
Not the vintage. Fortunately, vintage collection tends to be on the cheaper side, so it's okay. And if you're lucky, you can find the retro style collection, which in a lot of ways does go cheaper too. I mean, on your same video with your Sesame Street, I saw you got the Forlom and Zuckuss
Aaron
mixed
sent that
up card.
way.
Well, it's funny because while I was shopping around for Connor and for everybody during Christmas, I was walking into Ollie's just seeing if they would have anything extra that he would like. And I walked by it so many times, and I was like, if it's still here after Christmas, I'm going to grab it for Skelly. And well, now you've got it, but it was just
for
one of those
$6.99, for $6.99, or some Rosses I heard that it was showing up for $3.99. Like for that price, it's very tempting to not just buy a handful of them.
And it's that soft goods too on the Zuckuss too. It's not even like the vinyl.
Sorry, we're gonna get to you in a minute, Sean. I'm sorry, but I gotta show this.
I'm about to go buy another set just so Skelly could open them.
I don't need to open them. See, that's the thing about these, because I have these figures in vintage form, I've had them for a very long time. But what makes this particular 2-pack so incredible is the fact that they're misnamed like the original release.
Yeah, I love the fact that they included that. That was one of the best parts.
That's such a gift to us nerds.
I really hope that Mattel one day revisits the commemorative line.
Yes,
because I want but do a better job this time. Make them exact replicas. Make the He-Man's head face look right.
Yeah,
I know they're probably not going to do that right away if they do that because Origins is the same scale or similar look. Yeah. But I would love if they just revisited and did exact recreations of the vintage line, and then
me too.
Kind of like with Origins, go beyond that, but do 5 points of articulation, whatever Demo Man or all these other characters
deep cuts that we're getting now, right?
Yeah, they should do that. In fact, it's surprising they didn't do that, especially considering that Reaction Figures had already been doing that. They've already been doing that thing, and that Funko came out with those Thundercats 5.5 Masters of the Universe style figures way before any of this was becoming popular again. So Mattel, it was surprising what Mattel did. When I saw that first Origins wave, I was so in love with the idea of seeing it on the shelf again, but also a little bit of my heart sank a little bit in seeing He-Man, especially.
Yeah, I don't need the extra articulation on the 5.5 scale.
No, I'm with you on that.
I'm not gonna lie. Now that we've got it, I absolutely love it, and I love the pop and swap with it.
Yeah,
this cool. is kind of the thing that I exactly wanted, an upgraded version of the figures. But I totally get the appeal of just getting the exact vintage and kind of fresh and minty on card again. That would be a great collection to have just on card.
Mm-hmm. So you just said another good YouTube channel name. A good YouTube, not another one, but I feel like I'm having YouTube ideas tonight. On cardigan could be a on-card collector who wears a cardigan and talks about his on-card collection.
I would spend my entire time trolling that chat. Going and
but he's
buying
gotta
really expensive toys.
he's
and
got to
opening them.
sit in an armchair by a fireplace with his legs
Masterpiece
crossed.
theater style.
Yes, exactly. Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
Plate.
dun.
But it has
Okay.
bubbles coming out of it
Picture
because he
the
doesn't
Hugh
want to ruin the
Hefner
smoke.
smoking jacket.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, there you go.
On Cardigan.
Tonight on Action Figure Theater.
That's
Ooh, bubbles coming out. Well,
Oh, that's a good idea. We're having all kinds of good ideas. Everybody that's watching, feel free to steal all those ideas. All right, Sean, I'm anxious to see what you got there.
well, actually, I want to throw two things out really quick before I show off my stuff because two things you showed off, Oz. Number one, I'm jealous of that alternate Atlas head because that's the only other head that I don't have of that. Because I have Atlas, I have Adamon, and then when I saw the black-haired one, I'm like, and I couldn't make it to lead. I just sat there and I'm like, son of a.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's cool.
I'm happy you have it. I'm not mad at you, but I'm always like, that one's the only one I'm missing out of that group. But something else here. Here we go.
Oh, here, let me.
Is this not going to work? Because I have
No,
my board screen.
You can kind of see it.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is, I should probably share it with you guys. Matt Walford. He was in the community for Masters when I first
remember that
joined
name.
a lot of them in Facebook. And the He-Man with the Vecna reminded me a lot of how he would,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
especially with the boot cuffs and everything, with the fur and all that. And that actually, my daughter got me the Skeletor and Demogorgon one.
Yeah.
And once I got that, I go, well, now I got to get the He-Man one. And the He-Man one actually is nice enough looking that even though I don't do Origins, I'm like, that works. I would just have as a one-off with him and Skeletor and the other two, and just be like, I'm good. That's my Origins basically. But I think
they're
those are
good
nice.
figures. Yeah.
Yeah. So, to get to what I have been, what Adam has foregone to let me show off tonight, I got the Norseman from Frazetta Girls.
Oh
So
God.
cool.
And this is one I really wanted to get. I had a little bit of hangups originally trying to get this. I was in deep and hot water with the wife, so I couldn't pull the trigger when they first. I went on their website and I'm like, wait a minute, there's still a pre-order for these? I thought the pre-order was over. And I ended up getting it for the same price I would have gotten it like a couple months ago.
Oh, that's great.
So if you want to go direct through them instead of doing Big Bad Toy Store, which the markup on that is like I think $20 more or something, go to the Frazetta Girls site. You can still get a pre-order in and get it within like a week. But yeah, I'm really happy to have this guy. I have Dark Wolf and him. And then whenever they finally have info on that Conan that they were showing off, those are like my three and he wasn't cherished until I got him in hand. Honestly, he was one where I'm just like, he looks fun. He looks kind of versatile compared to Dark Wolf. It's Dark Wolf, it's and all that. And this guy, I mean, the amount of versatility you have with the different heads, with him yelling on the one head, you have the full head of hair you could put in. You could put the Viking helmet like this. You could have the staff if you want to, give him that like mystic shaman kind of vibe if you want to go there. Or there's two different swords. There's the soft good cloak. There's a different armor for the loin piece if you want to go that way or not too. Yeah, I'm really happy to get this guy in hand, and I was messing around over the last couple of days, just like, so what am I gonna do? What weapons am I gonna use for him and all this kind of stuff. So yeah.
I love it. Can you get him up close?
There we go.
Yeah. Nice. The face on him is great.
The face, I'd say, out of everything about him, the face is the only thing about him where I feel like the detail isn't quite in sync with everything else about this sculpt for me. Yeah. But it still works. but he almost looks a little too young. I feel like with the look of this guy, he should have maybe some more wrinkles or something, or at least maybe some scars or something. Because in the art from Frazetta, he's not as distinctive facially. So you could have done a little bit of something extra to make him a little more distinct.
Yeah. I could see that, like maybe put some crow's feet around his eyes or something.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe a little more leanness to the face, because I mean he's so freaking ripped. I mean, and then it's like he almost has like cheeks and like puffy cheeks almost, and I'm like, well, he eats well, I guess, but I kind of wanted to see some sunken
drinks
cheeks.
Well. He either eats well or drinks well.
Yeah.
So, Adam, you said you have one too. Let's see them side by side.
Yeah. Well, so okay, I got two because I pre-ordered two, but yeah, this is one of them. But the one I wanted to show off, because I put the other one as the driver for my Sky Sled.
Yep.
Oh, that looks so good.
Wow.
So he's gonna go to Castle Grayskull and then Valhalla.
That's incredible. Wait, let me make you big here. We gotta look at that.
He fits right in.
That rules.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this one I've got. Let's see. You can see the. He's got the alternate loincloth. You can see they're kind of funny because like you can take off the top torso and then pull off the loincloth and he's naked. Underneath. He's totally naked. I mean, he does, not anatomically correct, but he is naked.
That'd be funny if he was anatomically correct.
Yeah.
That's really a really cool figure.
Yeah.
I love that they're doing these Frazetta characters. I think I saw on Instagram in passing while scrolling, are they doing Vampirella too?
Yeah, that's the next pre-order.
That's great. That's cool.
So it's awesome. Icon Collectibles is the name of the company it's going through that the Frazetta girls have the license to, right?
Well, I think Icon Collectibles is their brand name for their toys. Okay. If Frazetta Girls does a lot of like art prints and books and calendars and things like that, but then they call their figures Frazetta Icon Collectibles.
Yeah, Alan, I'm with you on that. I think if they included highly detailed nether regions on action figures, that would freak a lot of people out.
There is a bump.
Thanos has found some use.
He's got butt cheeks too,
except for Thanos. He has butt cheeks though.
Yeah, he does have butt cheeks. Yeah.
Hey, if they got the girls with the cake, the guys got to have the cake too. All right.
Equal opportunity cake.
Even Steven.
I mean, if you look at some of Frazetta's stuff, the guys are just as naked as the women have.
Yeah.
Oh, like all the time.
Opportunity. So
very diplomatic nudity.
His John Carter of Mars definitely has nothing to hide from anybody because he's barely in anything.
Yeah,
so true.
Yeah.
So even the boots, they're just you can take those off. Like he doesn't have bare feet, but you can slip the boots off and like he'd have naked shins.
That's crazy.
Which I think is probably like they had in mind, like they're going to do Larn from. I'm sure they'll do Larn from Fire and Ice, and he's basically got like a really skimpy loincloth, so you've got to be able to show it, have his butt showing. So that's why they did the buck like that.
Yeah.
So I did want to shout out, of course, Emerald Knight Photos, John joining in here, as well as Vine Jungle Figure Factory. Alan is with us now.
Cool.
Amazing people. So amazing.
Yeah. Such great people. All right. So the thing I want to show off is great because it'll transition to our subject matter for tonight, which is Superman. So I'm going to be, these are not open because I'm going to be doing a video on these because I'm expecting another Superman in the mail here pretty soon. But I was at Target just yesterday, and these have just finally come out. The Superpowers, and this is there's been, let me see, there's like 10 Superman action figures already in this line, but this one is the one for me. We're going to be talking a lot about this tonight because
I'm going to embiggen you, Skelly, so we can really show that guy off.
Embiggen.
That one, the face doesn't offend me. Finally,
yes, right?
Yeah,
finally.
I really dig that smile. I mean, like,
yes,
the way that McFarlane has done Superman's face since they got the license has been the most anticlimactic looking face I've ever seen. Like, he just looks like Phil Dunphy from Modern Family in cosplay every time I see it. This is the first time I've ever seen it where I'm like, that is how it should look. It should have been like that from the beginning.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm real picky about the figures from this line, but I do like them. I got the Dark Knight version of, the Frank Miller version of Batman, which is a cool version of Batman.
Oh yeah, good choice.
But I'm anxious to get the sort of like just the traditional gray and blue Batman, but I think I missed the boat on that. That's like number 12 or something. But
we could try to find you one. But
yeah. This though is amazing. He is the Superman that I grew up with.
Yeah.
All the costumes, I mean, not all the costumes, but every time I dressed up like Superman, this was the Superman I wanted to dress up as. This is the Superman that influenced the Christopher Reeve Superman. This is my Superman.
Like in here.
I remember growing up and like in a comic book, there was like an ad about brushing your teeth or something like that. And it had
yeah.
And that to me is that like Superman with that smile. Like I expect his teeth to just get that glint on.
Glisten. Yeah. Sparkling teeth. Anyways, I got this guy and I'm going to be doing a video on him. And I am a sucker for this character too. But I'm going to preface this by saying I've had 2 other versions of this character in the past and gladly traded them in for other things down the line. But I think this is one that like does it right. And the Bizarro Superman.
Yeah.
Bizarro. I mean, this is, you can't really see on here. I'm going to be doing a video on this, like I said, but the details on the face, speaking of faces, this is incredible. And
that looks great. Yeah.
He is like, this is a spectacular figure. So, I mean, for $9.99, these are a pretty good deal. And McFarlane's getting better. They're just getting better at these, I think. At least they made more of an effort on these 2.
Yeah.
Right. As they've come out, as the waves have gotten deeper, he has done a drastically better job of these figures overall. And I gotta say, like, I don't collect them just because I knew if I had started, I would have gone deep. But I think they're amazing. I really, really am always excited to see people get the chance to, again, it's the exact same thing like when Origins came out. Like, it's that same feeling for people with superpowers and seeing these and getting these, and then they have the different vehicles that come out. I swore up and down when he did the invisible jet for Wonder Woman, it was just going to be an empty box.
Yeah.
But no, like full translucent plastic, invisible jet. He's done like what, the Bat Copter now, or the Whirly Bat. I'm sorry. Like, he's getting all these different vehicles. The only ones that were a little weird was like, what did he crowdfund? Like the Black Manta thing or whatever. Like, that was just weird to me. Like, why are you crowdfunding superpowers stuff? Like, just make it, Todd. You're gonna release it for like $20. Just make it.
I missed the news on that one. That's interesting.
Well, again, it's such a weird choice, right? Because it's, why would you crowdfund a vehicle that's going to be under $50? Like, I just don't get it. But also, I haven't been keeping up on the news as much. But like, now we're getting stuff like Metamorpho and just like all kinds of crazy deep cuts in this line. It's exciting to see that. Like, I'm really, really excited for people. I mean, again, he's pumping out Batman left and right. We can't joke. Like you said, the gray and blue classic is like number 12, and he's released like 8 other Batman figures.
Yeah.
That was only in 1 week. He's got another 56 on the pipeline for like 2025 so far.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Allison, if you could give us a Batman count in the chat, please. I'd really appreciate it. I need those updated numbers.
So I love this comment from Alan. He just got the 2006 30-inch Superman action figure to turn him into a Megator. That's fantastic. I can't wait to see that.
I love that Alan goes and buys like these, like, there's somebody out there that's a grail, and he just went and bought it, and he says, "Yeah, I'm gonna chop this shit up and turn it into something."
Hey, that's cool.
No, he does such amazing work.
Yeah, he really does. I've got this secret, not a secret anymore, but I have this plan to make my very first custom, and it occurred to me recently, and I'm really excited about it. So I reached out to Curtis and was asking him some questions, and Alan, you're next. Because I'm really nervous about it because working. Oh, sorry, Adam, you gotta.
No, that just reminded me something. I'll be right back. I gotta show off something. But you keep talking.
Oh, cool. But I haven't. I'm nervous about working with small, detailed things. So, all right. Allison has the number here. We've got 1, 2. 70. Oh, these are totals for all of them.
Yeah, it's a running joke that we've been doing. So McFooland has announced 98 Batman, 72 Jokers, 52 Batwings, 1 gold-plated, 19 Batmobiles, 32 Robins, 1 has the wrong cape, 7 with no cape at all, and a bucket of nuts and bolts, the Batman of Earth Nuts.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
Yeah.
it's about an accurate count. And mind you, he doesn't even really announce them. They just show up in the store.
Yeah.
That is so true.
It's like rabbits.
These were smart because they came out right after. I mean, a few weeks after the trailer.
Right? Yeah, because I hadn't seen
after
that
the trailer.
Superman. So that's oh man, perfect segue.
Some planning, some not planning with McFarlane, it seems. All right, Adam, let's see what you got there.
Okay, so this is not done. I'm still working on this face, especially. But I had an extra New Adventures Skeletor that I am turning into a laser light Skeletor with the paint job.
Nice.
That makes sense.
So,
my god, that's so awesome.
The sculpt is all there. You can part of the boots are smooth, so that looks like skin, and then mechanical details. Gave him a red glove. Gave him turned the other glove into just his hand. The face, obviously, that's what I'm working on right now. But yeah, that's little laser light Skeletor custom.
Love it. And that's the laser light Skeletor is what led us to the Skeletor we had from New Adventures. So that's perfect.
Allison's mentioned walked into my bathroom earlier and there were 2 waves of superpower sitting there on the counter.
Oh man.
Can I just say, I absolutely love all you guys that view the frenzy. You're great. You get our sense of humor. We appreciate it. We appreciate your humor. Thank you so much for watching and helping make the show just amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's part of what makes this going live. I always get a little nervous before we go live, even though we've been doing this for a while. I always get a little nervous. And then I remember that the people that tune in and watch this are so much fun, and they're going to do a lot of the job of making me feel comfortable. And so, our group of people are great.
They're just amazing humans. All of you. Thank you.
All right. We're going to jump into Adam's Battle Ram report. Okay, the new set StreamYard has moved some things around here.
It has. It's
Found
weird.
it.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
Welcome to another edition of the Battle Ram Report, brought to you by Adam, author of the BattleRamblog.com website, the best Motu site on the web. He'll throw you a He-Man punch and a Skeletor blast. Be ready to get some knowledge. Take it away, Adam.
I love it. Bobby is here.
Yes, even when he's not here, we have got Bobby.
Yeah.
All right, so thematically, we're keeping in with the Superman theme, the Superman and Masters of the Universe. So talking about the crossover issues in 1982 that were used to help promote the new line. Yeah.
Love it.
So there's two issues where there was Superman crossover. Obviously, the most famous is the first one, From Eternia with Death, which was its own issue. That's the actual cover of the comic. That's the one that's there. There were 5 DC Comics full size. Not counting the mini comics in '83, but the '82, '83 full size run. The first 2 were. Had Superman guest appearances, so we'll talk a bit about those.
I've been looking for. Do you have this one? Do you have these, Adam, in your collection?
I used to have them. I ended up selling them to Motu Origins Cork because I needed money for something. I forget what. So he's got them.
That's awesome.
From Eternia with Death. That's the expensive one. You typically can get it for $100, but if you're patient, you can get it for less sometimes if you're okay with something that's a little more worn.
Yeah. I keep
and
looking
the others
out
are
for
cheap
these.
though. The others you can get for like $10-15.
Yeah, so good. Those are great covers.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of background, like why did they do this? There was this marketing plan, this power promo booklet that I recently put on my blog. So they gave this to like retailers and people who were considering at New York Toy Fair in February '82, like, oh, there's this new Mattel line. What are they? Is this going to actually go anywhere? So they talk about like all of their plans to cross promote the brand. So you can see a little picture of the advertising, like the commercial. There's a shot from a commercial. They mention the mini comics as a way to promote the brand. And then up on the right side, they mentioned the DC Comics as a way to promote it. They don't have the actual covers yet at the time when they did this, so they just they throw in some DC Comics just to show that yes, we're gonna have DC make these issues to help promote the new toy line. And then for those eagle-eyed people down in the corner, you can see in the pocket there's that rare version of He-Man and the Power Sword, the alternate logo version, and this came with this whole marketing packet. I got this from Andy Yusi. He's the guy that his dad was an artist, and he all those Lords of Power images, those came from him. So he had those slides that his dad had to use as reference material for his art.
So amazing
for the brand. Yeah.
Amazing.
Adam, can I just say that the amount of contacts you've made and spoken with that have dealt with the history of Masters of the Universe, just brother, it is a dream come true. Just having been able to do these shows with you and have met you in person and everything, like, just again, it's a dream come true for a guy like me who was just some dude sitting in Maryland who actually bought Wondar when it came out, and like that kind of launched me into this sphere of where I am now, having made so many connections. Talk to Adam, it's truly a dream come true to be able to do something with you on this level where I get to hear all these amazing. I mean, it's For me, this is like when you went to go see Mark Taylor and you were listening to his stories.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like all of us are just dudes who are geeking out. That's at the end of the day, that's the truth. We're all equally nerdy and geeking out.
This is so true.
Absolutely love it.
Alan said, Adam is the man. Yes, he is. All right, next slide.
Yes. So so the truth is both, like there's these two kind of canons really in the first year, 82. They're both really were just created to promote the toy line. Like we've got these free little mini comics that came with the toys. That's to help, this is something that the marketing director, Mark Ellis, pulled out of his ass to try to, like, when he was pitching this to retailers, like, hey, what, like they were saying, okay, well, what do you got to make kids want to buy this? And so just out his butt, he pulls out, oh, did I mention we're going to include free comics with the toys? So they hadn't planned to do that. He just like, okay, now we got to do that.
Yeah.
But then the other thing was, okay, so they went through Western Publishing, who does like Golden Book and those kinds of, they do games and things like that, coloring books. So they did that. They went through them for the He-Man and the Power Sword, those first 4 comics. But then they, to further promote it, they went to DC Comics, and there wasn't much effort. It wasn't like Mattel was like, this, we have to keep the same canon that was established by Don Bluth in these first comics. So they met with the DC guys, and they kind of hammered out another story, almost it's really kind of a reboot.
Yeah.
And it both within the first year, so it's kind of,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So this is something that they published with that first DC comic, where they kind of talk about that. So where the meeting where Mattel brought this idea to DC Comics, which is interesting that they kind of give you a little history of where this came from. But in the next page, they talk about, so the writer Paul Kupperberg met with Mark Ellis, who was the director of marketing. He was kind of the marketing guy for all of the launch of it. And they basically they kind of worked out, okay, what's the World of Eternity like? My guess is he probably let the DC people kind of lead with it because they were the storytellers. But this is where you get things created like He-Man has a secret identity, and it's Prince Adam, and he turns into He-Man. The way he does it is different in the early stories, but this is where we get our first look at Zodak and what is Zodak. Like in these stories, he is the neutral cosmic enforcer. So a lot of this feeds into Filmation, because Filmation takes the Prince Adam thing, they take the Zodak thing, they make their own tweaks and changes to it, but this is kind of where we get the Filmation, and a lot of the stories afterwards really start with the DC Comics.
Love it.
I did not know, Allison, actually, that Mattel had owned Western Publishing. That was not something I knew about.
Oh, interesting.
I gotta say, it is highly ironic that they sold it off around this time, right before. Go to that. Funny how things work out.
Yep. So just some pages. The one on the right, that's actually that was a reprint. With the Motu Classics, there was like He-Man and Superman 2-pack, and there was a Skeletor and Lex Luthor. They reprinted these for these 2 comics, and they recolored them, I think, digital colors. So the actual vintage comics, they're not this bright on the internal pages.
Oh, look at the colors! The colors on that Skeletor on the right. Oh my god, that's so good.
I was gonna say, like, now I want a really deep green face Skeletor with like a more maroonish, pinkish kind of armor.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want that Skeletor. That's just as a variant,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I think there was one of the India Skeletors had that kind of plum colored armor.
Mm.
You know what? I think
you have to pay an armor
right.
leg for that. But, yeah.
Not if I dye it myself on Origin. I mean, what?
and also I want an all gold Man at Arms.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that would be sweet. Solid gold Man at Arms.
He looks great. Look at that. He's like C-3PO Man at Arms.
It's like I made your battle armor, but this shit's way better.
I'm surprised Super 7 didn't do that when they had the license.
They it is surprising. Yeah.
So there's a couple of funny visual things in these stories.
Yeah.
So in the next page, this is like the actual vintage comic. You can see the colors are much darker, but look at Beastman. Look how funny.
Yeah.
The way they interpreted him is like his armor is his hair. Like he's got this big fro and a beard, red armor. But then he's just got a necklace hanging down from that.
Yeah.
And I think that basically they're in the early Beastman prototypes. For whatever reason, the armor was sitting much higher on him, so it's like over his head. And so I think that's how they interpreted that.
I want a version of this Beastman too. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, he just looks like a guy. He actually looks like an X-Men kind of like Sabretooth.
He looks like Coach Beastman is what he looks like to me.
Yeah.
Was it one of the New Gods or one of Darkseid?
Calabac.
Yeah, thank you.
Calabac, yeah.
Yes.
That's almost identical to who I'm thinking, yep.
Yep. See, okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me, Sean, but I was looking at it too, and I'm like, it did come from DC here.
It did come from DC. Exactly.
But look at his arm too. It's like he's got regular, like human, Caucasian skin, and he's just got his sleeve rolled up. Basically,
or a T-shirt.
A beast man gonna roll up my sleeves today.
He looks
Ronald
McBeast.
Yes.
And they kicked him out because he's too colorful. They were like, "Why are you wearing? You're not wearing any black. Why are you showing up for practice? Get out of here, kid!"
I love orange T-shirts.
It's no. I figured it out. I just figured it out. He's Grizzly Adams around a McDonald's.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
He literally looks like if from a McDonald's in Canada, if they came like he was cutting down trees all day and stuff. I'm a lumberjack. I'm okay.
That's exactly it. I love it.
Normally, I don't make fun of Beastman, but I can't help it in this sense because that is
this is the Beastman. This is something else. This is Other Man. I don't know what the heck he is. Calabac, Other Man, whatever the fuck your name is. Go over there and do something. Tune my guitar for Christ's sake. Do something worthy.
Good to see you, Captain Biscuit. Good to see you here. Yeah. And Alan, they did my boy wrong. Alan, you got to do a custom of this. You know that, right? We're going to want to see you doing a custom of this.
It's like Bob Ross went to a Guar concert.
You could totally repaint like a Bob Ross figure.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh,
there's like 10 different Bob Ross action figures now. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just grab a head sculpt for one of them. It'll work.
I got to stop looking at this poor Adam right now going, I'm not going to get off this podcast until freaking 3 a.m. Sean just keeps on riffing right now.
I love it.
I mean, when they give us this kind of ammunition.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this,
and this is the other artifact, because you can tell they're looking at this prototype Man-at-Arms who didn't have colored boots. Like they just
Mhm.
they didn't give him red boots. He just had green all the way up the leg. So that also makes it into this first issue with the green boot Man at Arms, which is kind of
This
fun.
is a funny logical leap for this artist to do. I can't see
Yeah.
the other boot because it's behind the battle round. So I'm just going to invent that he has a different boot on that particular leg.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you can't see the belt, so okay, he's got an orange belt, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
wow,
we'll just put it in there because it matches the rest of the armor. But I like it though. I'm not mad about it either.
It's
No,
really a cool
I mean, he looks
design,
like Man at
actually.
Arms at least, right?
Yeah, he does.
He
Yeah,
looks
that's
like
Yeah.
but he's got this like I'm weekend warrior at arms more than Man at Arms. You know, he's just got this. It's like it feels like it's unfinished at the same time, which is really weird.
Little bit, yeah.
I will say the artwork gets better on the later issues of this series. The first one's is a little rough.
Oh, that's my favorite. My favorite is when it's rough like that. I just love that's part of the reason why I love some of the later mini comics too, because the artwork gets so lazy in those later mini
in
comics.
85.
Yeah.
Like the Horde comics in 85, those are so bad.
They're so bad.
There's a lot of them that were really rough, and I'm like, what the hell happened here?
The Leech one was one of the ones.
Yes.
I'm like, I threw it behind me. Like, I'm not even looking at this thing. It's horrible.
I love it. I love it.
It was so sloppy.
You know,
nothing
honestly,
was on
I felt a little betrayed because I thought Mattel could just hire me at the age of 5 to go draw their mini comics.
You would have done a better job in some cases.
Actually,
the Leech one, yeah.
Ugh, they were rough.
This is a beautiful
cool, actually.
image. Wow.
Yeah. So for the rest of this, I basically I'm giving us highlights from the story. Which is basically Skeletor using his half of the Power Sword to try to force his way into Grayskull. Somehow creates this bridge between dimensions, and Superman sees as the storm cloud over Metropolis or wherever he's at. So basically, this is our way to get Superman into the story.
That's cool. I mean, is that supposed to be Skeletor? Because it also kind of looks like it could be Merman at the front there.
It's Skeletor and Beastman if you zoom in.
Yeah, that's beautiful artwork right there.
Oh, I found it, Adam. It was a Leo Skeletor.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
So this is so he basically the first people he meets are Skeletor and Beastman. Cholo's beard. That Beastman says that I used to know somebody who called themselves Cholo, which is just kind of this random. I assume that's supposed to be some kind of Eternian god or something.
Weird.
Maybe he's actually just declaring to his beard and mane, his fro.
Calling his beard.
His beard has a name. That's what he does. He talks to it. Cholo.
Yes.
And he's got the same design issues going on.
Yes, he still has
image.
The hair, and then he doesn't really have chest armor. It's just his necklace.
Yeah. Superman's odd colored costume, because it's like primary colors. It's super bright. It's always been odd from the very beginning. And there's a reason for that, sure, but he fits in well with Eternian colors.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, next to that Beast Man, it's hard not to look like Miles Davis dressing like anything else. I mean,
well, he could hang out with Mechanic. They got the same colors.
That's right.
So this is a panel basically where we find out, okay, Superman's vulnerable to Skeletor because Skeletor has magic, and that's one of Superman's vulnerabilities. So Skeletor is able to cut his costume. So we've got some panels where they fight.
Your strength is prodigious, man. Like, that's great writing right there.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these they have kind of medieval language that they're using.
That's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
I watched Bill and Ted last night, and I could hear that Keanu Reeves' voice no matter what right now. Like,
yeah.
Definitely that Californian surfer act.
Your strength is prodigious,
man.
That's exactly right,
man.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's like, you know, Ted or what's his name, Bill Winters coming up next to him afterward. Man, like he just follows.
Be excellent to each other and power of Grayskull.
Bill and Ted go to Eternia. That's the next.
Yeah, I would watch that in a heartbeat. I really would.
Me too.
Now I just want to see Skeletor and Beastman going around like Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
But it's got to be this version, right? It could be Disco Skeletor and the newly dubbed Disco Beastman, fro and beard, wearing a solid gold chain medallion coming down. Beastman on his way to the Eternian Disco after getting a Big Mac.
I thought you got the Big Mac after the disco, but maybe.
Hey, either way, depends on how much you had to drink. You might get it before and after.
Before and after.
Well, I mean, this was back in the day when at least when you ate McDonald's, it didn't make you go to the bathroom for like half an hour afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have just been because we were young.
I don't know. Either way. I wish I could go back in time and their food tasted as good to me now as it did back then. Like, I can still get a cheeseburger here and there, but it's just not that same.
Not the same. But
it helps if you wait. You don't have it for a while.
Yeah. It makes it feel much. It's a lot more special if you haven't had it for a while and then you get it again.
Yeah. There is something about the smell, though, that I haven't quite been able to pinpoint that is exactly similar to what we had growing up.
It's always had that smell, yeah.
So
and I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I don't know if it's the way they do the ketchup and the mustard and then the onions together or what.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's very distinct and it always makes me hungry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it now and I'm getting hungry.
Just grilled.
Yeah. We're going to close up shop early, folks, and we're going
to... Sorry, guys. Going to get Big Macs.
We'll live stream to McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. That would be cool. We'll do that sometime. All right, to continue.
So I didn't, this isn't the whole comic, but off screen, Skeletor blasted Superman away, and he kind of lands near He-Man. So they meet. They're immediately buds, and so they go off to go fight Skeletor together.
They're immediately pals. That's great.
So then this is kind of the trope. Whenever there's a crossover, the two heroes have to fight, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, Skeletor takes over and controls Superman through magic, which leads to the battle between He-Man and Superman.
Yeah.
At which point we're all supposed to argue, okay, who would win in the fight?
Yeah, we all know who would win.
Right. So and it's very classic. You they both have to get some hits in. But
now this is another variant of Skeletor that I want. All black, yellow face.
Yeah.
Grim Reaper Skeletor.
I was gonna say it's almost like Doc Nocturnal from Mezco right now.
Yeah.
Bit of a rip off.
That's the colorist. Like, whatever. I don't want to break out my purple.
It's like Superman's yellow boot back there. In the bottom, what would that be? Bottom left.
He stole Man-at-Arms
golden boot.
Yeah, he just jacked Man-at-Arms boot. He was like, "Damn, that's solid."
Yes.
Yeah, the illustrations here are so cool. I do love them.
Yeah.
It's
And we get different artists as it goes through. Eventually, you get Alcala doing just the inks, but I think some of the art is more Alcala-esque. With even whoever knows the pencil person, kind of started to copy more of his style. I think.
This is that
Alcala. I keep reverting back to.
Yeah, when we pronounce, it took me a while to adjust that because we were pronouncing it a certain way I was pronouncing it a certain way for my whole life practically. This looks like the Origins Grayskull because of the symmetry, the balance, and the sort of flatter face.
Yep.
Yeah, I've always thought the Origins one looked very DC-esque.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
All right.
Rather than the way I look at it, which is least favorite-esque. DC's a more positive angle.
Yes. So basically, as the story goes on, Superman figures out if he can just distract Skeletor for a minute, he can break his control over him. Which somehow he does by melting rocks around him. I don't know how he'd be able to do that while he's under control, but that's what happens.
That's kind of a great image.
It's comics. We're not going to
brush. It's comics. Nope. So basically, then they defeat Skeletor. Skeletor makes himself scarce, disappears. And then we get our wrap up. If we ever need me again, somehow we'll find a way. And then he goes back through the portal back to Earth.
Wow, that is great.
So the next one, this is the pack in. So you don't see this on the cover of any comic. This is like a little comic within a comic. These are, I think this is the full list of where it appeared. So if you're looking for it, don't if you want to buy it on eBay, don't search for the pack-in. Just search for these issues, and you'll get it for under $10 probably.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people will sell it, and you're only looking for this issue, and so that'll be more expensive, but if you just buy the full comic, it's cheaper.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing that research for us.
Yeah. So this one's for whatever reason, it's kind of not explained, but Superman is on Earth. He finds this kind of crazy squid creature. He sees these 3 rocks flying through the air that go down underwater. He follows them underwater, which leads him to another portal to Eternia.
I think I just saw a UAP video just like this on YouTube. The orbs, nobody.
Oh, okay. No, I got you.
So something to do with He-Man or with Skeletor, Merman, and Beastman. But basically, Skeletor's got the power swords, but then Superman arrives on the scene.
Nice.
Well, and we got Gold Merman here too. We're just throwing out gold variants.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beastman looks like Beastman this time. They must have fixed that.
Yeah, he realized Disco was dead, shaved the head, and it's like
And we got a little bit of the Mark Taylor Castle Grayskull going on down there in the lower right-hand corner.
Yeah, you get occasional variants of that.
Yeah.
So in this one, kind of the thrust of the story is this one's very Zodak centric, where Zodak comes to try to stop He-Man because he foresaw He-Man dying. Like it's written in the stars, He-Man's going to die this day. So there's a whole, I don't go through it here, but there's a whole battle scene where Zodak attacks He-Man. He tries to stop him from confronting Skeletor. But then He-Man is able to prevail, and he comes on the scene just in time to save Superman from getting, murdered by Skeletor.
Yeah. So many of these panels would make great T-shirts.
Yeah, they would. So basically, He-Man throws his sword at Skeletor, hits him in the chest, right? He doesn't. I mean, Skeletor doesn't die, but he does vanish. And then Zodak is, we don't understand why, but his prophecy didn't come true. He-Man lives. He's all happy. And Zodak and He-Man and Skeletor kind of hug out at the end.
They're like they're chums. I want to replicate this in a toy photo.
Yeah.
Love it.
So those are the Superman and Masters of the Universe issues. They're fun. I will say the three that follow them are better stories with better art, but they're all worth reading. You can get them all. I'm plugging Vaults of Grayskull. This is a guy who's got a lot of scans of old Masters comics and things, artwork too. So that's a good site if you're not familiar. Check them out.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally. Well, Adam, that was amazing. And now we have Sean sent some images in, and this is gonna be a little bit more Superman centric, I think. And Sean, if I messed up the order, apologies early on, but I think I did an okay job. We'll see.
Okay,
so,
no problem. So, to preface, I guess, before we get into them, these are screen caps from one of my favorite issues of Action Comics ever, Action Comics 800. Action Comics 800 is a really cool issue for the fact it's an anniversary one because it's 800 number one, but the fact that the story that they tell is like giving you glimpses of little bits of Superman's history behind the scenes that you never get to see anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, there's these little vignette moments that they're either like a page or maybe even some cases, I think it goes up to 3 or 4 pages in some of these, where it gives these one-off little tales of people talking about what a difference the character or the person, depending if they're within the continuity of DC Comics or whatever, what he means to them.
Mm.
And it's the first time, other than like Death of Superman, where I remember ever having somebody voicing what it is in their mind that is what matters about Superman to them. And the first time I ever read it through, I was like, this is special. This is not just your standard Superman book, because if you come into Superman and you're just like, oh, he's a god, basically. He's infallible. He's unbeatable. He's got all these powers and stuff. You can have a negative opinion of the guy depending if you put any effort into learning more about him or not as a character. And in my opinion, looking at this issue, this gives you a lot of insight into what it is that makes people keep coming back to this character so much. So let me pull it up here on my phone really quickly too, and then I can read I can read this to the people because I know they probably can't see it because I know it's not big enough here.
Pretty small.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to give the pages at least so there's something visual.
It's totally my fault. Being able to zoom in would be great, and I could probably figure out a way to do that. But
it's okay. I got it here. I had to go the whole way backwards in the comic here. But all right, so for this page, the first time I saw him, I was with my father. The day had already been special for that fact alone. Time with Dad, unencumbered by work, demands the yard, Mom. Look up in the sky, he said. It's Superman. And then the next page after that. So then that one, ask 10 different people what Superman looks like. You'll get 10 different descriptions, 10 different stories like mine. They'll all have one thing in common, though. He touched them somehow. He's touched us all. I've grown up with the belief that ordinary people are made extraordinary through the collision of circumstance and character. That at the heart of it all, kindness begets kindness. And no matter how dark the world gets, no matter how dark, evil cannot stand the light of truth, justice, and the American way. Thank you for being extraordinary, Superman. Thank you for being.
Yeah, that's cool.
So to start that for this comic, because this is one of the first vignettes you get to see, for me, that was like, okay. and then you get into the next one, which is a one pager here. The art for this one I know is by Bill Sienkiewicz, and Sienkiewicz, sorry, and he's been in the comic industry for decades. Moon Knight, New Mutants, tons of books like that. And this one, it's just a simple little tale. I wasn't what you call a student. Really, I'm still not. But I'm better. At least I can read. That didn't come easy for me at first. I was 7, and it took me 3 hours to get through C-Spot, you know? They have all sorts of big names for that now. But then I was just another illiterate black girl ready to be a burden on society. And then I saw Superman, not him, a comic strip in the paper. This flying man doing these amazing things, strong. There were words coming out of his mouth, and I wanted to know for myself what they said. I could understand most of the story, but the look of them. I wanted to know what he was saying, like it was important somehow. That's how I learned to read Superman comics.
That's cool.
So, for me, again, like I grew up with the Christopher Reeve movies. That was like a huge touchstone for me. And to this day, I still remember my mom let me stay up late when that came on, and I never saw the movie. That was the first time I saw it. And I think my mom probably saw it at some point after I was born, because she knew at the ending of that movie when he does the flyby, and she's like, I thought, okay, the movie's over. I'm going to bed. Mom's gonna make me have to go to bed. And she goes, wait, you're not going to bed yet. Watch this. He's gonna smile at you. And I go, nah. I was literally like, no, and then all of a sudden I look at the screen and he does, and I literally couldn't go to sleep the rest of the night because I literally was like, Superman knows me, and it was like mind blowing to me in that. So,
that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm also going to preface this with the fact that don't be surprised if I start getting choked up trying to read some of these, because these really do hit me in the feels. So
yeah,
my family literally makes fun of me every time I watch movies now, because if something gets to me, I'll just sit there and I'm like wiping my cheeks. And my kids now are like, really, Dad? And I'm like, leave me alone. I'm having a moment,
Me too. Me too. I think it comes with the territory of reaching a certain age.
Yeah,
and if you're a person that's sensitive to emotions to begin with, you're just totally vulnerable after a certain age.
Absolutely. I mean, like the trailer brought stuff out of me, and then this already brings stuff out of me. So it's only like it's gonna compile. It's almost like I wish the Battle Ram report was later so I could have a moment to like clean myself up. But instead, we're going the opposite way. But it's okay. It's all right. So this one, it's the story of a little boy in the city who wants to become he wants to be in the Air Force. So I had the cape, I had the look, I knew exactly how my arms would go. I was ready to fly. But Metropolis is a million miles from Brooklyn, and Mama wouldn't let me even cross the street. I'm 10 though, right? Invincible and flying makes complete sense. I promise I'm never giving up until I can fly like Superman. I don't know how many times the Wright brothers were grounded, but I figured it had to be a lot. Tell Mama we wouldn't even have the term grounded if they hadn't learned to fly. She laughs and calls me Flyboy. I like it. Superman's sidekick, Flyboy. I'm 10. Don't forget. So Flyboy hits the books, cape tucked under my coat at the library, my fortress of solitude. It's hard to have a dream, easy to forget, to grow up, to just move on. But anytime I checked, Superman was still tearing through the clouds at Mach 10. So why shouldn't Flyboy?
Yeah.
I still have the cape. It's hanging in my closet next to my dress blues. But only Mama still gets to call me Flyboy.
That's awesome. I wish I still had my cape. I had a little cape that my mom sewed the yellow S onto a red sheet.
Nice.
And I wish I still had that. I don't know what happened to it.
I had the PJs when I was a kid.
Oh, that's cool.
And I had the underoos on top of that, so I would just slide the underoos up, run around with my underwear literally outside of my PJs. But I did have underwear underneath, so it wasn't like it was really weird. But everybody in the neighborhood's like, he's running around in his underwear, and I'm just like, it's Superman. Like, why would you not do that? It made no sense to me that people were giving me crap.
Yeah, folks, if you looked at the thumbnail of this video tonight, that little boy wearing the piece together Superman costume, that's me.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
My first Halloween costume was a Ben Cooper, plastic smock Superman costume.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
I'm just going to say it right now. If anybody sees Sean running down the street with his underwear on the outside of his pants, don't you give him shit.
Don't. No. Because honestly, because Superman isn't Superman without the undies on the outside. Sorry.
That's absolutely true. And about these two pages in particular, from my point of view, there's a documentary on Disney Plus right now about John Williams, and I watched it and I'm like, I kind of want to see what he has to say about Superman, and they do get into him talking about it, and it's really cool to go like he actually liked the character as a kid. And so him getting to do the theme song for Superman was like a big deal to him. And then they showed Christopher Reeve talking about it. He's like, well, a majority of the heavy lifting actually is just the fact that you need the John Williams score to learn to fly properly. Yeah. Because he's like, imagine that score not being there. You take a couple running steps, you try, and you just fall over. He's like, that theme literally pulls you off of the earth, and you're able to fly like Superman because the music gives you that power. And as a kid, this made me think of me as a kid, because as a kid, I'm like, if I listen to this song long enough, I might actually start to hover off the ground. It felt like that to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or it's either that or wah wah.
Well, and yeah, it could have been that too. I was lucky not to be one of those kids who thought, "Oh, I'll try it from the roof and see what happens." I was very. Yeah,
I don't know how many times I wanted to do that, and I'm so glad I didn't. And just a real quick side tangent here. Ace is mentioning one of my favorite artists of all time, actually, Mike Kelly, and Ace is referring to Mike Kelly's Candor series, and the Candor series, folks, look it up. They look like they're sculptures. Oz added a link. They're sculptures that are similar to the Fortress of Solitude. They're these smaller installation pieces, but they're lit in multiple colors. So they're incredible pieces. Ace, thank you so much for mentioning Mike Kelly.
Yeah, I'm totally looking at it here as Ace had brought it up, and I'm like, holy shit.
yeah, and I had always loved the way the Fortress of Solitude looked in the Christopher Reeve movie. And when I never got to see that exhibit in person, but when I saw images of that, I was like, see, that's a way to sculpturally capture a thing that you see elsewhere, but give it new life or new energy, and it's amazing stuff. So Ace, thanks for bringing that up.
Absolutely, it's freaking phenomenal and gorgeous. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. When I saw another side tangent. I saw Mike Kelly once when I was living down in Los Angeles, and this is before he passed away, and I was like starstruck. I was telling the person I was with, like, that's blah blah blah, and they're like, what are you talking about? But it was a great moment, treasured memory. Ace, thank you for that. Sorry, let's get back to
before you do that, I need to run, make sure my son gets into bed.
All right, Adam.
Yep.
All
Adam,
right.
thank you. Tonight's presentation was amazing. I love that as a deep dive, and learned a lot.
Mhm.
Thank you, guys. I'll check, Sean. I'll check out your the rest of your presentation later.
Sure.
But,
No
looks
problem.
great so far.
Thank you, Adam. Have a good night.
All right, take care, guys.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, almost ended the stream.
Don't do that. Oh, you make a J number 2.
Is he frozen or did he go?
I think he's frozen.
He's definitely
Yeah,
froze, which means he
frozen.
probably just hit the home button. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, it'll solve itself.
You could have been messing with us.
Same thing happens to me like Saturday nights when I'll go outside for a smoke and then I'm coming back in and I switch it up and I just back out. I'll come back in here, sit down at the computer, and I'll see a black screen with my name still at it. And I'm like, I'm not even there anymore.
So let's continue this. I got to get my hands on this issue, Sean.
Well, this is just the vignette parts. I didn't put in anything that had to do with the actual story, which is really cool too, because like I said, it takes these little moments. Like the one that I always think of the most that I love is the night when the Kents find, like, it's the night of the day when they find the rocket. And this is just one little moment in the story, so I'm not ruining like the whole story, but it's Jonathan and Martha just talking after they put Clark to bed that night, and Jonathan's like, well, what are we gonna do about this? You know, the people are gonna be like, well, how the heck did you get a kid already, and all this kind of stuff. He's thinking of all the logistics, and Martha's, you know, trying to talk to him about, you know, her thoughts on the matter, and then he sees on the table that there's a bottle of wine. And he's like, well, what's that for? And she goes, well, if we decide we're going to keep them, we're going to celebrate. If we decide we're going to give them up, I want to drink it and not remember the entire day. And it's like those kind of things get me too. It's like
heavy.
That's never really had those kind of moments because it's typically they just accept them, you know. And it's like I love that they give you that little moment of the two of them having this discussion, and it's not just, oh, well, you know, open arms and all that stuff. And I love how at the very end of that, you see Jonathan pick up a mug and it's got wine in it. And he goes, "Pa, I like Pa." So you know he's on board with her.
He's like, sold.
He's sold
so
at that
good.
point.
So good.
So
something about that title, Dad, just makes you smile and go, yeah.
Absolutely. So the one on the left is one thing, and then the one on the right is a different one here. So this one on the left. So you've seen Superman by now. We all have. He's all over the place, right? All people are talking about. have to live in Cairn not to have heard by now. Now they're speaking like in the 30s and 40s dial, the language, which is screwing me up here. Right. So we turn to you, gentle listeners, and pose the question for today. Do you believe a man can fly? Don't know. Flying men? Kid stuff. My heart leapt into my throat. Never saw anything like it. Who cares? Bigger things going on in the world, real things, and real life. No time for dreams. Can a man fly? You sure? You sure as heck better hope so. You better hope Superman's flying around out there right now, over your head, over your house, doing what he does. Doesn't everyone fly in their dreams? What could be more magical? What could be better? You got to believe in Superman. Sometimes dreams are all we got. And I like how it starts with the Bud Collyer, the radio show, Superman. And then you see the kids in the next panel with the capes, probably bath towels or something, or bed sheets, listening to the radio. And then the final panel there is Siegel and Schuster coming up with the next comic, or coming up with the original Action #1. And it's the whole, their dream led to all of this, which I think is really, really cool. And then this one gets me, because this page, I think, it was a complete nod to Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
So it's a woman. She's looking in distress and everything, and she says, I believe I can. I believe I can walk. I believe I can walk again. Out of this damn chair and away from my accident and into the rest of my life. If he's not giving up, neither am I.
Yeah. That's so power. That is so powerful.
That's the one that I usually get choked up on, and then the rest I'm like a baby for the rest of it.
Yeah.
That one being Christopher Reeve and all that, and me, that was my Superman and all that growing up. It's like that one, and then just seeing that poster and the poster, Nothing is Impossible, with Superman in the background there. It's like, that is the kind of stuff that for me, it's like, yes, it's a people could be like, it's a silly character. What's the matter? It's like, here we are talking about He-Man for years. Here we are talking about Superman now and stuff. And it's like, it matters.
Well, it does matter because
it matters.
These characters are the creation of these characters is purposeful, and it's to create hope that we can be better, and that's as simple as it gets. And it takes on a supernatural, and it becomes a supernatural thing where somebody has the ability to change from the normal person into the extraordinary person. But that's a metaphor, like talking about, we started off talking about metaphors. But it's a metaphor for just having the hope and the courage to be better. And that gets me every time. Like, my favorite moments in watching movies lately are not the sad moments where my heartstrings are being pulled, but the moments of hope where my heartstrings are being pulled. And that's when I just lose it. I don't know why. That triumphant moment where something clicks in the right way, and boy, that gets me. That's what the Superman trailer did for me. I mean, it's on the surface, it's incredibly cheesy. Little dog, dragging him across a thing, and you see these superheroes, and it's for anyone looking at that and just seeing the images without what the images represent, they might just see it as cartoon characters. But what we're lucky enough to have grown up with is the ability to see it as metaphor for something more significant, and those colors and those characters represent that just immediately for us. And I think young people are growing up with versions of that, and that's good. I'm hoping. I know you have a. I think you have. Yeah, you have one more slide, but I'm just real quick. I'm hoping that. Are any of you guys worried a little bit about the younger audiences embracing this newer version of Superman that is more like the older version of Superman?
Am I worried about them embracing it, or am I worried that they won't embrace it?
Thank you for clarifying. Are you worried that they won't embrace it? Because I'm worried that they may not. But I could just be scared, and that sometimes makes me spiral a little bit. But I want young people to enjoy the Superman that wears the undies on the outside.
From my perspective, and I'm somebody that when people put up a trailer reaction, I don't care. I really don't, because I'm gonna have my own opinion, and it's like I'm fine with if you want to put out there, I'm watching the trailer for the first time, and what your reaction is. The Superman one was the first time I ever literally for like 48 hours sought out trailer reactions. Because it was with the fact that we only 12 years ago we had Man of Steel, and Man of Steel was one where I was really excited about it. I was Me too. Wow, they're gonna bring it into like the modern age, and like Henry Cavill. When I looked at him, I'm like, there's no freaking way he doesn't look like Superman and all this stuff. And I felt like, wow, this is gonna be on like a whole different level. And then when I saw the movie, I'm like, everything that you could show of why this character resonates with people, you didn't. And all that you wanted to show was the power set throughout. You didn't show hope. You didn't show he had kindness, but it wasn't shown in a way where it was really shown. It was more he wanted to look out for like Lois when she was getting attacked by the robot in the fortress or in the ship and all that stuff, and he crushes the robot, and he heat visions her so that her wound isn't gonna get worse and all that. And it's like it had a few of those moments, but I left it not feeling hope, not feeling anything that resonated with me. So it made me not interested in that take on Superman. And I'm watching the trailer, and it was the first time I ever got goosebumps, and I was almost ugly crying, because the main thing to me, if you're going to show Superman, you need to show Superman in the best way, shape, or form. The way after he saves Margot Kidder in the first Superman Christopher Reeve movies, she's completely blown away by this guy. She's like, she's barely able to say anything because of what just happened. You've got me, who's got you, and all that stuff. And I love that when he lands on top of the building, all she does is, "Who are you?" And he just goes, "A friend."
Yeah.
And in that moment, anything that you could have as a cynical take on this character, and with how genuine and earnest Christopher Reeve says that to her, and he has this. It's not a smile, but he has this warmth when he says it. It's like that I need to see again, because Superman is not just rock'em sock'em robots. He's not, like this power set that turns him into something that you're like, oh, now it's Homelander and all this. It's like we've seen 50,000 versions of that. It's like the reason it works if it's Superman is the hope, is the kindness, is the feeling like you have somebody out there. If no one else is looking out for you, he will,
Yeah. And this is exactly what Allison is saying too, that it does matter, and that perhaps Alan is making a good point here. The world has, for the last 10, 20 years, and I agree, wanted anti-heroes, and he's saying it'll swing back eventually. And maybe that's why Batman has been getting more attention. But I think that's absolutely right. And there's always a place for anti-heroes, but I think that maybe globally we've had enough of the darkness for a while, and we need a bit more hope, or more lightness to contrast the darkness, and that's I think we've seen that happen. And then going back here to Ace, like Superman is part of our modern myth making, just like the ancient Greek gods. And the when we create myths, they're there to teach us lessons and to give us hope, and for us to understand what's good and what's bad. And so I feel like we haven't had enough of the hope aspect in a while.
Absolutely. And the other thing too with Superman is there's that phrase, there's that term, the absolute power corrupts absolutely. And with Superman, you're dealing with a character where he has so many things that he can do. He is he's basically a god level hero. And at the same time, he can't be everywhere all at once. He can't save his own father when his father has a heart attack and dies. Mm-hmm. He is somebody who he's seen death. He's seen people he loves being taken from him, even if he's able to do all these incredible things. And I love that it never makes him go down the wrong path. He's usually somebody who he looks at things and goes, yes, I've suffered this loss, I've dealt with this, and he gives himself time, and then he wants to move on because he realizes there's someone out there who might be where he is mentally, and they need him for this. Yeah. Or it's that feeling of looking out for each other and being kind. And it is hard in this day and age. It is one of the hardest things that you could possibly fathom on a daily basis, to just be kind, when it's so easy to flick somebody off, or to swear, cuss them out to their face because they did something that made you that upset. And there is something to that really, it's like, I want to be better because I think of that kind of stuff and go, what would he do here? He wouldn't call them a jackass. He wouldn't do X, Y, or Z. He would literally try to at least, be kind to them and offer, like his hand to them, and try to at least smooth things over and make them feel seen, and
maybe he definitely,
how hard is that now?
He definitely wouldn't have snapped Zod's neck.
Exactly. That was, hell, the end fight of that was where I shut down completely, because I'm like, Zod literally threw a tanker of oil at him, and all he does is fly over it and let the building behind him burn. And I'm like, okay, right there, you got me out of the movie. That to me is like, he wouldn't do that. He would have grabbed that and he would have set it down, and he would have been on the ropes more, because Zod would have just been attacking him. Well, he should have been protecting the entire time.
The Superman we grew up with would have turned the world backwards to stop that explosion from happening.
Absolutely.
This is what. So, and the point of Alan and Allison, that they're making aligns with sort of what we're talking about. But one of the big problems in Hollywood is the tendency to want to. I'm going to go back to what Alan said here. Characters like Superman and Captain America keep getting over tarnished in order to be more realistic. Like in the Hollywood films, let them be, and let them stay positive in all regards. And I'm getting to a point, which is, please let He-Man just be a hero in the movie that's coming out. It's not going to be that hard. Like, let him be the hero that He-Man is in the movie. I'm a little worried about the over tarnishing of heroes that Zack Snyder did, and that being an influence on this new Masters of the Universe movie. But that's another side tangent.
Yeah.
Let's go to the 5th slide here.
All right, here we go. This one's going to be hard. All All right. So this one, if I remember right, this one was written by Jeff Loeb. And this is drawn by Tim Sale. Jeff Loeb's son died because he had cancer. So this whole story is probably more personal to him on a lot of levels, because it is about, here's a father who his son is going through cancer treatments and he's getting weak and he's trying to fight it, but the dad is just worried that the kid has had enough at this point. So it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, watching them inject your boy with poison to make him well. You do it though, and for the cherry, you look him in the eyes and lie. This is going to make you better, champ, I promise. It goes on like this for 8 months or so, and then for fun, you just crack. They have the speech on tap. I know chemotherapy is draining, but it's the best course, blah, 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 blah. He's not speaking down to you, but the softness in his voice is an acknowledgement. You are helpless. You've been helpless since your son developed cancer, and you're fed up. Yelling louder seems like the smart thing to do. And you wake the boy up with words. A kid should never hear about his own mortality. Father of the Year, you're about to whip up your next devastating bon mot when he tries to speak. His voice is so small. His eyes can barely stay open. You see him in there, behind the haze of drugs, struggling. How badly did you scare him? Can you take it back? You wonder how much he hates you for being weak. And then he tells you, don't be afraid, Dad. We're going to get the kryptonite all out. I'm not going to die. He sleeps, smiling, and for the first time in a long time, you're not afraid that he won't wake up. Your son is not going to die because he told you so.
Mm-hmm. That's that hope and that grit, right?
And on top of that, it's just the whole, when he says they're going to get the kryptonite out, that part just hits me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
But yeah, that like I said, I mean, I get Batman's the cool one. It's just like Wolverine is the cool one, and all that stuff. There's always that. There's always those guys. And those guys are usually the ones that, they have a dark past or they have the angst and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for me as a kid, when I looked at Batman, I thought he was silly because all he could do was swing around the city like Spider-Man. Superman could like fly and go and do all this crazy stuff. And that was more appealing to me because I couldn't do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So it made him more interesting to me in a lot of ways, because then it's like, well, he can do all these things, but like I said, he can't do everything even. Yeah. So it's interesting in that way. But like the new movie, for me at least, like watching that moment in it where there's the little girl and there's stuff that's about to fall on her, and all of a sudden he like super speeds in and he grabs her and he's like covering her and holding her head so that if anything would hit her, it would hit him first and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I saw those reaction videos beyond Crypto, that was the moment that would make people go, yeah, because they're seeing him doing this. And it's the whole feeling to me of he cares that you see the next day, and that it's not something that you can really quantify. And I'm not trying to say like as a father, I have a different perspective to how this works, but there is that vibe of like, when you become a father or you become a parent, there is something that clicks in your head that now it's like, but I don't want to see these people get hurt. And, even before that, there's an empathy, hopefully. But afterwards, there is that, like you think about these families, you think about these children, you think about, whoever that you care about. And it's just, it becomes exponential and whatnot. And that's the thing about Superman, that he makes you remember that, and he makes you feel like you do have, even if you feel powerless, you aren't powerless. You might just need that second wind or that third wind or whatever to figure out the situation. But the trailer just knocked me on my ass that day because I was like that part with the little boy raising the Superman flag and you hear him call him
Yeah,
Superman.
totally.
Oh my God, I was on the
Yeah.
ropes with that part. And
Me too.
like the way that the theme kicked in, and even the chants of Superman by the end of it, with how bombastic it got by the end of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something I was like, I'm just hoping this is cool. And then I see that and I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a blubbering mess leaving this theater probably.
I hope
they
so.
do this right.
I'm still like holding my breath a little bit, but the good thing, the good news is James Gunn is doing it. And
Yeah.
that means that even if I have some issues here and there, they're going to be small because the entire story arc is going to be interesting. And there's going to be tongue-in-cheek stuff that makes it feel more grounded. That's the issue with the superhero films that I've had lately, is that when they make an effort, when the directors are making too much of an effort to make it feel more realistic, they think that they're making it more grounded by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what's happening. You're just creating an alternate reality on the screen, and it's not believable. But if you go weird and you present tongue-in-cheek situations and then you ground it in good storytelling, then it's more believable no matter what it is you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like Drax, beating up a giant monster. I believe that because it's made with heart, and it's made, excuse me for saying this, I'm going to say it in a different way. It's made with guts, because it takes guts to make something that isn't it takes guts to make something light.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were saying about it's easier to dwell on the negative than it is for us to make an effort to be positive. It's easier to do the other thing. Oz, you look like you're about to say something profound there, my friend.
Not too much. I mean, psychologically, people are designed to see the negative. Like, we're literally programmed to see it. It's one of the reasons why negativity sells so much when you watch news or anything of that nature. We are drawn to the negativity. It goes back to a biological response to be on the lookout for bad things, because that is what's going to kill you, right? Yep. And that's what it is. It ties in with everything. And but I mean, like, just basically what you guys are saying, like, Superman is here to sell hope. And growing up as a kid, Superman was not one of my favorite heroes. Not really. I mean, trust me, I enjoyed the movies, right? Like, that was big for me. But I didn't get into, like, Superman with the comics or anything like that. I was a Spider-Man guy. Right? Superman to me was a little just too generic. You got a guy that can do all of these things. Yeah, he's got a very impressive set of superpowers. He basically couldn't be hurt. He's got heat vision, X-ray vision, cold breath, super strength, can fly. Like, here's a dude that, like, literally no matter what you do against him, he's not going to lose.
Yeah.
He's got two weaknesses, and honestly, back then I only even knew about one, which was kryptonite.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, unless you had kryptonite, there's no way to beat him. And to me, a hero to resonate with me, he needs to have to overcome obstacles, and it just didn't seem like to me that Superman had obstacles that he could not overcome. Until later. The death of Superman changed things for me. It started to draw me in because here's a guy who couldn't be beat, and he died.
Yeah. The writers of that were having the same feelings. Like, how can we do something to this guy? We've got to figure out a way.
Right. So, and again, mind you, like when I was really young, I used to like watching the old Superman cartoons and everything like that. I had freaking videotapes of them like that I would watch over and over again. It was cool. I liked watching the Matt Reeves Superman movies. They were great. But it was just like as comic books, I didn't, like when I was looking at comic books, it wasn't like Superman didn't hit it off for me. Reading a bit more into Superman and realizing the amount of strength it takes. And see, Allison's putting in about the magic. Like I said, he's got 2 weaknesses. I just didn't know about the one because I didn't get into the comics enough. That was not something that they portrayed in any of the media I had seen him before.
I didn't know about super ventriloquism.
I remember that one.
Yeah, he could throw his voice. But honestly, just the strength it takes when you can go ahead and you can squash everything. You literally have the strength, like I was saying, to overcome anything that this world could throw at you. And to not abuse that power to the point where he would become, we see it in the alternate universe with the Syndicate and Ultraman. What do they call that? Ultraman, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what? Superman's a badass. Because in all honesty, like you don't necessarily have to become a criminal with things, right? But at any point in time, Superman could literally just flick that switch and go, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. Y'all better get your shit straight.
That's what Alan is saying.
Or I'm going to just, destroy this place.
Yeah.
And that's one of a very powerful quote that I remind myself very often as I speak with people on the phone all day who just want to piss me off. Be kind.
Yeah.
Right. Like people will give Captain America and people will give Superman crap because they are the Boy Scout. Right.
Yeah, because they're the do-gooders. And they love Wolverine and they love Batman because they are rough around the edges. They're the flawed.
Trust me. Yeah.
They're the flawed characters that we all are already. But to make a decision to be a vigilante and do something, to fight the bad stuff that's going on around makes them even cooler, right? But to be just pure of heart, like just to be a hero that is 100% a hero, and with his only is Superman's a sensitive person, like who people make fun of Superman and make fun of He-Man because they're just like so good, like and I can see that because, like you said, Oz, I think we're drawn to. First we're drawn to threats because it's like a defense mechanism, but also we're drawn to flawed characters because we're all flawed characters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But to have that symbolism of hope, though, something to hold on to, is one of the greatest things that we have, because honestly, it's how I make it through every day. I gotta hope that tomorrow's going to be better, whether it's not, or I don't know yet. It hasn't happened, but I gotta hang on to the hope that no matter what, it's going to be better. Otherwise, the world will just crush you. And I'm not Superman. I can't hold that on my shoulders.
Oh yeah, and you know what? And everybody has experienced that in some capacity, some more than others. That without hope, the world would be unbearable. And I know that feeling all too well. And it's like, I feel like there have been times in recent during throughout 2024, and even now too, where I wake up every day and I'm like, where can I find hope today? And it's I'm very lucky because my wife and daughters are awesome people, and they help me feel motivated. Number one, that's the first thing. Every day I feel motivated by that. But then I get out there in the world and I'm like, what? And, it's so much easier to, like today, and I talked about it at the beginning of the episode, I was looking at all the fires and thinking about my friends that are down south and all that is happening there, and how much of that part of California we're losing right now. And then I have to stop because I have to remember there's a student, like for my job, there's probably a student right out there that needs my help. What can I do now here in this moment? Even though I'm not in Southern California and I can't do anything to help down there. What can I do here? And that's what, like you said, Oz, getting that challenging phone call and then like quite literally choosing, you have to choose to be good to that person. And
it's you're going to talk to people who are upset, and you're going to talk to people who are pissed off, all kinds of different things. And no matter what, I mean, I 100% could be a dick, and many times I want to go off, but not just for my sake of keeping a job, but 90% of the people I'm talking to, they just got bad news, real bad news.
Yeah, that's true.
So the last thing I need to be is a dick to this person. Try to be nice, and hopefully they will remember that after this call and be like, damn, you know what? I was kind of an asshole to that guy. Hopefully they'll go on to the next person and not treat them as bad as me.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Wow. The thing about Superman 2 that I also like is every single one of us, and by us, the frenzy, the toy collecting community, the geeks out there that enjoy whatever it is you love, toys, comics, movies, whatever. Growing up, you've always had a secret identity. You've always had the you that you would show off to the world, and you would hope to God you didn't get your ass kicked that day just because somebody heard that you read an X-Men comic book when you weren't at school or something, or you had He-Man growing up or whatever. And then there was the part of you that when you got home, you got to immerse yourself in the happiness that brought that hobby brings you. And like when I was a kid, beyond the theme song, one of the moments I loved the most was anytime Prince Adam raised that sword and got to transform into the alter ego. Or the first one that I grew up with was, Superman and all that. And it's like, even though they're showing that, and even though they're showing that they're powerful individuals and everything, Revelation taught us Prince Adam would love to not have to do that and just let people in. The same way that if Superman saves somebody, it makes him feel better to see that that person is smiling because he's there, because he can do what no one else could do. There's this beautiful, beautiful page in All-Star Superman, the comic book. There's a girl who her therapist was late getting to her appointment that morning, and she's literally on the edge of a building about to jump because she can't take it anymore, and she's about to, and the next, it's like the one shot you see is just her face, tears, and then the next panel is her, same thing, but the Superman S is right behind her, and he just hugs her and says, He really is late. He's really trying to get here. It's not that he doesn't want to see you, and it's not that this doesn't matter to him. He does care, and he just hugs her. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff that, whether you can move a world and push it away or, juggle planets or whatever, at the end of the day, like, that's the kind of stuff that's more impactful to me than seeing him punch Darkseid into the next state or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of stuff that it's like, the measure of a hero is how you treat others, in my opinion. The measure of a person is how you treat others. Yeah. And in the form of Captain America, I love that when he's in the Avengers and Bruce Banner, he meets him and he's just like, so what did you hear about me? And he's like, I heard that you know how to do da da da. Like you knew about the gamma radiation or whatever. He's like, is that all you heard? It's all that matters to me, friend. Kind of, and it's like he's judging people based on this is what you bring to the table. I respect you for this. And it's like, you'll also turn into a giant green rage monster. We'll deal with that when the time comes. We'll work with you. It's the same with Superman in that way. It's same even with He-Man. Sure. I mean, look at half of the people that joined up with him to help. Most of those people are the special ed kids, but they're in it to help too. Fisto doesn't have heart of a fist, but you know what? He's in it to win it. I mean, So I don't know. For me, that's another thing that it gets me, at least, is that he's got his insecurities, just like we had our insecurities. Even though he can do all these amazing things, they've shown in certain stories where people get freaked out by him because he looks like us. And it's like, oh my God, if you could do that, who's to say you couldn't do something to hurt me or my family? And he legitimately, that's when you get Superman on the ropes, and that's when he's weak, is I don't want to do that to you. You mean, it's like Mr. Rogers. You mean something to me. I would never do that to you. I would protect you at all costs if you were in danger. And I don't want you to fear me. I don't wear a mask for that reason. I want you to see that I'm genuine, and I want you to see you're safe when you're with me. And it's like, that for me is like, you really want to get him? That's how you get him, even more than Kryptonite. Just make him feel like he's not wanted and people hate him just for being different. I mean, that is another thing that works right now with what's going on in this world. He is different. He's a different individual in a whole bunch of ways, but at the end of the day, he just wants to be accepted like everybody else.
Just like us. Well, I'm excited about this movie, and I'm hoping I've sort of I've got, now that I've seen the trailer, unfortunately, I've got there's a good chance that I could be very disappointed by the film because I feel like it's going to be good. And if I go into any movie feeling like it's going to be good, especially lately for some reason, I often leave a little disappointed. So, maybe they're, like, as the theme of tonight has been, maybe there's hope, and it'll be good. It'll fly in the face of the, not to use flying as a pun here, but it'll fly in the face of the kind of grittier things that DC had been doing previously that didn't quite work, and it'll show once again that you can actually show this character as he was represented in the comics, and let him be a little silly, and let him be in bright colors, and let him have his underwear on the outside. I don't know if this person is still watching, but Comic Book History made a hilarious comment at 8:53 p.m. here on my coast. I'm pretty sure even McDonald's has an underwear goes inside the pants policy. Yep. Hey, that's another reason to love Superman. He's a little bit of a rebel when it comes to his underwear policy. And old school Batman too. With that being said, I want to see the underwear come back to Batman too.
All I'm gonna ask is, if you're wearing your underwear on the outside, make sure there's no streaks.
Oh no! Yes, please, no streaks.
I completely agree with that. That's the wisest thing that anybody who's a tailor for a superhero could ever say to their client.
Yeah, no poo-poo
streaks.
undies. No poo-poo undies.
In Incredibles,
Go buy a fresh.
In this case, no streaks.
No streaks. No streaks.
Oh man. All right, guys. Oh yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I just want to say real quick, and I promise I'm done because I know I've taken up a lot of this segment.
No, that's okay.
I mean, James Gunn being in charge of this made me more hopeful than not, for the fact that I went into Guardians going, this looks promising. And then when I saw the first movie, I was like, one part that got me the most, because Superman or Man of Steel came out the year before, and then we got Guardians, and literally Rocket Raccoon could do what Superman couldn't by shooting down things to protect people on the ground. When he was when they were in those Nova Corps jets or whatever, and he's literally like telling people, hey, make sure that they don't hit the ground so that the people are safe. And I literally in the theater go, what the fuck wasn't Superman doing? And I'm like,
thinking of the collateral damage of what they're doing.
Thinking of the collateral damage. Let's not have all that craziness. And I'm like, I remember just thinking, he literally made me believe a raccoon is more special or more concerned with people than Superman. So, and the fact that he had an idea for this universe of Guardians, and he made it special. All three of those movies are something that Marvel couldn't have done if he wasn't involved. So I'm like, okay, you're going to some Silver Age stuff like Crypto. It's a little sillier. There's more tongue in cheek, but we've never seen that. And the amount of people who got excited over seeing Crypto show up was through the roof when I saw those reaction videos. And I'm like, this is cool that these people are accepting the zanier stuff, and the campier stuff, because that is something we haven't seen out of Superman yet. We've always just seen Christopher Reeve or the other stuff. There's never been that, hey, let's have a dog with a cape flying around with him and see what happens.
Next thing
James Gunn is that guy,
James Gunn is the only person that could make Batmite work.
I believe
he's the only person, and he's also the only person that I hope that somehow we get a Howard the Duck movie, because I think that with the vernacular that James Gunn has created in action in superhero films, I think that, I know that he won't be directing it because he's head of DC now, but the Marvel folks should make a good Howard the Duck movie, because we deserve that too. But we can do that now, right? I mean, if James Gunn can show us that we can make a superhero movie, first of all, that second Suicide Squad movie that he did is amazing, and it's a hard R.
Have you seen Peacemaker yet?
I have not. Peacemaker's brilliant.
We don't have HBO Max yet, but when we do, we'll be watching that.
See if you can rent it from that. Rent it from the library or the Starbucks you go to.
I might. It might be there. I don't know.
Yeah, but, because he directs that whole series. And look, I'm not a huge John Cena guy. I've never liked him really in the ring. Dude can work the mic pretty good, but I'm not a fan. And hearing about him breaking out into movies, I was like, oh man, I really don't want to see this guy in movies. But you know what?
He's gotten good.
Oh man, he the whole first 20 minutes of freaking the first episode of Peacemaker had me I'm watching this whole damn series. I'm on board now. Brilliant, and again, a lot of that comes from the good writing and the good creative mind behind James Gunn, because he's always been outstanding. And to be honest, it showed me a side of Cena that I really enjoyed. And then I started watching some of these other more comedy-esque movies that John Cena has done. Whereas The Rock came out into acting and wanted to be all super serious, rocking all of his roles. I like that John Cena's just been yeah, you know what? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be ridiculous and done a lot of these other movies, and I'm like, thank you, because I needed that, and I like this side of you.
He's doing a good job of that.
Way better than the Doctor of Thugonomics. I'll tell you
that. Peacemaker. I'm definitely going to put that on my roster to watch. I've said this before. HP. I've said this before. Part of me was hoping that James Gunn would take on the Masters of the Universe movie, and I know that's not going to happen. But I think that he actually would have done a good job with that, because he would have understood the capacity of Eternia and the outlandishness of it all, and done it right. But I'm glad that he exists so that other filmmakers can learn from him, and hopefully it becomes a style. The James Gunn style becomes something that more people are willing to emulate with in a serious way. I also think that what was I going to say? Oh yeah, if they incorporate Batman into this Superman universe, this DC universe that James Gunn is creating, I know because of his background in making B movies for Troma when he was younger, and how he went about making the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I know he can make it work where the Batman character is not of the same ilk as the Superman suit. Like that Batman can actually be more rough around the edges and brooding on the outside type of costuming. And if people are worried about like, oh, this Batman's going to look like, it's going to have to look like the comic book Batman from the 1970s then, because if they're doing that with Superman, then he's got to look like that. I think James Gunn could make it work where Batman feels more dangerous and grounded in a handmade suit, for instance, and stuff like that. So I think he could actually make that work. I have hope. And that's the theme of tonight's episode. So, guys, what do you have coming up? Anything interesting?
Me, no. I'll just say that. I know Oz probably has plenty, so I'll just go first. I'm just happy to be here again. So there you go.
I'm glad you popped in tonight, Sean. It's always fun having you here. Oz, how about you? What you have on your agenda coming up?
You sure you don't want to go first? Mine might take a little while.
Well, I've got a couple of small plans. I'll just be quick. I'm gonna be doing a Superman video here pretty soon, just to piggyback off of tonight's episode. And real quick, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here, because you're all awesome, and appreciate you all for tuning in. But on a more like creative side of things, for the first time, I've always been hesitant to do custom action figures, because so many folks out there that I'm close with in the community do such a fantastic job, and I've always felt like the right idea hasn't ever really come to me. But I feel like I just got one the other day, so I might be, if over the next couple of next few weeks or so, maybe about a month, I'm going to be trying to find the different little parts and make a video on the channel of that journey. So yeah, Oz, how about you? What you got coming up?
Oh man,
thanks, Sean.
Right. I'm getting started on that journey too, Skelly. So
yeah,
definitely, I'm going to be getting into making quite a bit of customs here in the next year. You know, a big part of the Mythic Legions community, it seems, is customizing. There are so many talented artists customizing so many figures, and I mean, like, I'm doing my lazy boys little pop and swap here, you know, doing stuff like that, but I haven't really fully invested into really painting stuff. Kenzo sent me over some stuff to make Lord Pythonus. I got to paint those. I've got the basic body for it. I want to get started on making my Rathamon custom that I've had the body parts for to go for a Conan Adventurer style Rathamon from the animated series.
Nice.
I'm getting some parts in for a Conan the Adventurer style Origins figure. So that's on the docket. I want to get into really getting into some of these customs. And then I also was just recently given from Wolf King Customs some parts for a character called Griffin from Wolf King Customs. Todd C., somebody who watches the Clubhouse quite frequently, was on Art by Ackerman, Curtis's channel, and want to give away, and he doesn't customize, so he said send it to me, and I'm like, I don't customize, but I got to learn somehow. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool too, get some custom parts for that. So within this next year I will be doing custom action figures, which I'm really excited to start. Also terrified, especially I'm going to start on the cheaper ones first, because I don't want to start painting on my expensive Mythic Legions figures.
Yeah,
like,
that's intimidating.
Oh hell, I messed it up and now it looks terrible, but I'm gonna try.
Real quick shout out to Curtis and his new channel, Art by Ackerman. I just finally got around to watching his channel, and I watched 2 episodes yesterday, and they're so good. And he's found a real great niche for himself, because he's really good. He's an amazing customizer, and the videos are a lot of fun to watch. So folks, go watch, subscribe to Art by Ackerman's YouTube channel.
Agreed. And also what I like too is, like, he'll tell you straight up, he's not the best customizer, out there. He's showing you what works for him. It might not work for everybody else.
Exactly.
And he lets you know that, which is always good. But then there are like certain people within the community who are known for styles of customs. And I like that he's bringing them on. Like, he's got a little segment that he does. Like, how did they do that? And that's really cool too, because it also gives recognition to other artists, which I always feel is important. And as a matter of fact, there's been times where we've had Alan on the Clubhouse on the weekends, and he's talked about, I do this, or I do this to kind of customize and do this and all like that. And Curtis has been watching, and Curtis has been listening, because there's been a couple times he's given Alan a few shout outs where he goes, I didn't think about that. And Alan,
Alan's stuff is amazing too. I mean, he'll throw something up on Instagram that he just recently completed, like a few days after having posted another thing he'd completed, and his work is always so unique. Like
tonight, while we're doing this, he made a post on Instagram of the custom Blanca he's working on as he's watching us.
That's amazing. Yeah, Alan. There's so many. Alan. Everyone, seriously, they're all such amazing artists that watch this show and have become friends with us in the community, and it's just amazing to see what folks are making.
It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. So yeah, I'll be diving into that world of custom action figures. Tomorrow night, catch me on Let's Go Off-World. Another podcast that I get to share with Sean every now and again when he shows up with us. It was great having you on recently, Sean. I'd like to see you again soon, buddy. I miss you.
I'm hoping. I mean, for me, it's mostly like, again, it's the schedule and all that stuff. So it is what it is, but I don't even know what's happening with it tomorrow, so I'm not worrying about it.
Don't worry about it, brother. Just convince Dooch to have his chair show up again, because that was like the most watched event, in all of Let's Go Off-World history. Like 6 hours of the Dooch's chair.
6 hours of the
non-stop.
Dooch chair.
And if you guys are trying to figure out what I'm talking about, you're going to have to go back onto Let's Go
watch that
Off-World
episode.
and go watch the longest video that has ever been posted on that channel. It's the easiest way for me to tell you which week it was because I forgot everything else that happened because of Dooch's chair. All right.
And then the last time I was on, he took his shirt off too.
Oh my God, it got wild. He did. He just took his shirt off.
He did.
And then you know what? Curtis took a page out of his book like last weekend on Clubhouse. He took his shirt off. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? It's getting wild.
There's too many naked men on YouTube on the weekends. What are we doing about that?
It's madness, pure madness.
Their underwear's on the outside of their pants and everything. What the hell's happening?
With streaks. Oh, man.
No one needs Chippendales anymore. You have YouTube.
Yeah,
You have YouTube.
pretty much.
Curtis and the Dooch are taking care of Chippendales. There you go.
It's a little bit more full Monty action, but not quite the full Monty, thankfully.
It's the full Dooch.
The full Dooch. Never go full Dooch, please. So yeah, catch us.
We love
tomorrow
you,
to see
man.
what kind of craziness we're gonna have on Let's Go Off-World.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Oh yeah. And of course, every Saturday, join us at the Clubhouse from somewhere around 9:30, 10 p.m. ish Eastern Standard Time till possibly 6 a.m. in the morning. Who the hell knows when we're gonna stop? It really just depends on who shows up, how long the conversation goes, where it's going, or what it's doing. And then you can definitely also. You're going to catch some more Oz real soon because